Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroad where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future, shedding away the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, and we are not exempt from this remarkable ongoing reality. Hello and welcome to Real Talk with the Cummings. My name is Mark Angelo, your host.
And I'm Lena Ariel, your host.
The other host
as well. Yeah.
So, what is today?
Monday. Yeah, it's
Why,
Monday.
It looks like it's acting up some here.
Oh no, February 4th.
Yeah.
That's a day that.
It's your birthday today.
Oh, my birthday.
Yeah. Let's see if this thing is going to act up.
Maybe it doesn't want to act right today.
No. Well, everybody seems to me bring this down. And let's see here if that helped at any. It'll close, right? Hopefully that will help it some. At least would be heard, hopefully. I think I did a feed earlier, but you know, a lot of strange things are happening in the world, so why not?
Yeah.
You know, why?
We saw there was something going on with an interview that we saw on YouTube the other day, where it was like really slow.
Test, see what they're doing. But anyway, we have see it's going in now. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, that's kind of. Do you have all the stuff shut off? All the
No. But
maybe
look at your speed.
Yeah, no, because the bandwidth may be compromised. You have all the stuff.
Look at your speed.
It's pretty slow.
Pretty fast.
No, it's usually 80 something.
Yeah, but still 53 is pretty fast.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's 3.1. Earlier it was 5.4. So don't know what's going on.
I don't know why this would have anything to do with it.
Well, you never know. But anyway, guys, it is Lena Ariel Cummings' birthday here, and as soon as she gets back, we're gonna have you sing along our thingy here. See, I have that closed. I have other stuff closed.
I'll get my phone and
yeah.
Sure the Wi-Fi is off on that.
Yeah, trying to like end up trying.
Ethernet cable.
Yeah, we do. We need to order one. But yeah, it's just like really weird. Sorry for trying to see how we could get this technical difficulty out of the way and see if it helps any. But see, it's just like getting stuck. Hey, team, thank you for joining us. Let me try. We're trying to get our technical difficulty. Yeah, it's really weird because usually just it's slower than the last. It's usually like something. Oh, it's going up a little bit more. Let's hope that let me see if I take some more bandwidth down. If it helps at any. Or maybe, because that's downloading.
No, it's not.
No, it's done?
No, it's not downloading anything. It was just using the computer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, that's a little bit better when I lowered it down. But anyway, let's see. Yeah, it's 3.5. It's really slow. Something's going on.
Sorry, you guys.
Something's going on. But anyway.
Oh, God.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Happy birthday to you. Hey, Linda. Happy birthday to you. She's getting older. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to her. And that actually, if I kept rolling with it, it was 2 minutes and 44 minutes. I had to find the longest birthday song around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you don't think
everybody.
it's that thing that's downloading that's causing that? Because it's usually not this bad. It's not a holiday or anything today. It's 3.5.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Is it another person's birthday or something in
Why?
the neighborhood?
Maybe.
They're using bandwidth.
Hello, Abby. Thank you for joining us. And who else have we got? So Miss T is new to our channel. Missy T is new to our channel. We usually have better bandwidth than this. I don't know what's going on.
Scott is with us.
Hey, Scott.
We watched your video, Scott. That was awesome. Thank you so much for being so open and transparent and honest. You know, that was a beautiful thing.
More people need to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tracy.
Hey, Trace.
Great. I've missed you too in our chat. Family reminder set.
You too. This is so weird. I don't know. I don't either. We usually have really good bandwidth. What's going on? I've got all my programs shut down. Nothing different. I don't know what's going on.
I don't have anything else open.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Sometimes things just don't work out the way we want them to work out in these day and age. But yeah, so hopefully everybody had a good weekend. You can tell I'm stalling here. Hopefully this stuff gets better because I hate, having to.
I don't really have anything else.
And I don't
Stream okay now, Miss CT says.
Okay, that's
it's good now.
So anyway, thank you for joining us, Missy T. You said you had a question that you are a trans parent.
Let me see.
Let me see here. She says something.
Hi, everyone. I was told to come here for advice on my trans child, so if you have time, please help. Give you a like. Can I tell details now so I don't get lost in the chat?
Is he too young?
Is he too young?
Well, we don't know any information.
Yeah, we don't have any information, so you could.
Hey, April,
share your story.
Yeah, but we do have a trans section, okay, that will, if you could, because I mean, I don't really want to throw the whole
show off
kilter. Yeah, because we have a trans section, and that's when we talk about. All that stuff, but
can we do the trans corner first since she's here?
I guess we could. All right, we'll change things around then.
Mix it up a little bit. I don't know.
Mix it up a little bit. I guess we get the trans.
Because I don't know if she wants to be here for the
whole show. Okay, so shoot your question, and then we'll do the trans section. I wanted to add that I reached out to a wife of a trans individual who I interviewed, in 2013. They appeared to be a happy trans couple, and they also had a trans or gender confused adult child. And they were kind of like really not very nice. They're like, I'm not going to answer any questions. And I know that they broke up, and I know that there's been a lot of issues going on. Maybe she's afraid, because I have a feeling that the trans individual has been very
so she responded to you
abusive.
In a not very nice way.
Yeah, she actually and I had also written the so-called, they're not a child, they're a grown adult, but the way they responded, if I could get this thing rolling here, I'm not interested in answering, neither is Jessica B, which is the name of the
So speaking for the adult.
Yeah.
Got a little hair.
I got a little hair.
Oh.
So it's what I find a lot of times, and we read the Trans Widows blog at one point, very abusive, these trans individual towards the wife and stuff like that. And I know that the particular wife was very supportive of the transition. And even though, you know, she expressed a lot of sorrow regarding losing her husband for, I don't know how many years they've been married. And I guess she could not put up with the immaturity, the abuse, because somehow a lot of trans women go into this like really teenage state, you know, and it's difficult for the wives to deal with it. But anyway, Misty, can you give us the information regarding your child? How old are they?
The trans corner, and if she wants to join in.
All right. So study find health risks for transgender women on hormone therapy. Now, I've always known there's been a lot of side effects, and just regular women that have been put on hormone replacement therapy have had a lot of issues with breast cancer, heart problems, you name it, a slew of different things, to the point where there was an alarming sense about it, and a lot of women stopped taking it. So the study looked at the records of 5,000 transgender people and found a higher risk of blood clots, stroke, heart attacks for transgender women. Now, go ahead.
The transgender women in the hormone therapy may be at a higher risk for cardiovascular problems such as stroke, blood clots, and heart attack. Researchers reported Monday. The
study was done by reviewing 8 years of medical records, 8 whole years, for nearly 5,000 transgender patients in the Kaiser Health System, and looked at patients over the age of 18 who took hormones for gender transition. Over 97,000 cisgender patients, people whose sex assigned at birth matches their gender identity, with similar age and health characteristics, or study for comparison. Because before it was just a cis study, they really didn't have any transgender individual study. Now they compared it to the 5,000.
So Missy writes, he is 13 and a cross-dresser who has older boyfriends. I want advice as he demands to be called Carly by everyone. He has his voice acting going on when he's dressed up, and any advice on what to do, he looks at very strange pornography. Thank you.
Okay, well, at 13 years of age, they're pretty much still under your care, your command, and your guidance. I have trouble understanding a 13-year-old demanding anything from a parent, or anyone for that matter. I know that the kids this day and age are a little, you know, ahead of their times, or trying to be ahead of their times, but I mean, there's got to be some sort of guidelines that you, as a parent, and where's the father in all of this, you know, to kind of, it's okay for the teen, I guess we could call him a young teen, to be able to express himself, but that doesn't make them the opposite gender. I mean, there is no objective finding whatsoever that proves that gender dysphoria has any validity except for feelings that people feel.
You know, they say that the sign for adolescent, you know, transition gender dysphoria is that they're persistent, consistent, and insistent. But in my book, that word persistent, insistent, and consistent is also equal to that of a brat,
right? You know, or a child
always wanting to get their way. And April says, perhaps your mind in the world was not created, nor does it revolve around him.
Exactly. And that's the problem with today's teen. And now I'm reading here that you're saying that his voice acting's going on when he dresses up. That's the key. It's acting. Okay. One of the things that I notice with trans people is like they claim to be something, but they have to do so much acting and so much excessive whatever it is for them to be themselves. Being themselves doesn't take any work. Being yourself, you just are. When you have to go out of the way to have your voice acting and sounding or being particular, then there's something going on. His father is not around, but has an uncle he is close to. You know, a lot of times that also is, you know, a very pertinent point, that the father figure isn't there to actually, you know, guide the child and teach the child to be who the child is meant to be. He has a habit of faking. Okay. This, I have a feeling. This is another.
I don't see this.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. we're not a game, and we're not to be talking.
I'm not going to tolerate it.
No. And it's really funny because, I mean, here we are with everything. And I had a feeling from the word go. That's why I was like, wait till, you know, but because if they were serious, they would have waited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, I'm sorry, you guys.
Yeah. I usually have to go with my gut feelings.
I didn't,
yeah.
You know,
anyway, my concern is that doctors who are inclined to deny hormone therapy will use this study as a reason to do so. And doctors should be very leery about prescribing hormones to any individual. This can alter your life in ways that you would not expect.
This is the largest study of the health of transgender individuals on hormone therapy ever done. Dr. Darius Getahan, an author of the study and research scientist at Kaiser Permanente, told NBC News, doctors and patients need to be aware of the possibility for increased health risks for transgender women.
April, I think they were a troll. I mean, just when no parent's going to sit there and talk about the big O about their kids in public like that. So that was a troll. But I always have to try to go with mine. It's like, okay.
I knew it was possibly a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't feel like that.
Especially when they were talking.
Legit.
Right. So the study, did you just read or did I?
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Okay. The study found that transgender women who are assigned the male sex at birth were twice as likely as cisgender men or women to have the blood clot condition venous thromboembolism. Transgender women are on hormone therapy were also found to be 80 to 90% more likely to have stroke or a heart attack than cisgender women. So, I mean, the risks are even higher in trans women.
Transgender men on hormone therapy, however, were not found to have a higher risk, and that's because testosterone isn't that kind of
it doesn't harm. I mean, if the only time a transgender man would get harmed with testosterone therapy is if they already have a pre-existing condition or if their body turns that T into estrogen. So now they're having excess amount of estrogen, which I've seen a lot of trans guys report that even at low doses of testosterone, their estrogen levels shooting up and they have a lot of problems. So trans guy doesn't mean you're out of the woods. It means that you've got to monitor your estrogen level because that is the problem. Testosterone is not a problem. Estrogen is.
The review of the records has limitations and isn't enough to establish a direct cause and effect. Getahan cautioned, he noted that the study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine only had access to the patient's records at Kaiser. So any outside medications couldn't be accounted for. In addition, the dosage and type of hormones administered were unknown.
A traditional study to determine direct cause and effect usually involves one group receiving a placebo while the other group takes the real medicine. And that's the way they usually do any type of studies or research. But given a patient in transition fake hormones without his or her knowledge or consent is ethically prohibited. So, you know, they have a hard time doing that because normally they do a placebo and, you know, the real thing, but with something like this, it would be unethical to do so.
For now, this study is the best measure we have of the risk, and it's much better than we've had before, Getahan said.
In the past, studies measuring cardiovascular effects of estrogen therapy have been done on menopausal women and applied to transgender women. So this is the first that they've actually taken a big population, 5,000. But the study of transgender women found significant differences, particularly for long-term use. Menopausal studies cited by the Kaiser research showed risk of cardiovascular illness declining over long-term use, but the Kaiser study found that risk increases for transgender women over time. So with cis women, the risk lowers. With transgender females, the risk goes higher with long-term use.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you for joining us. Brian had a question. Have a histo so I don't have to worry about anything, right?
What do you mean by worry about anything? I mean, there's
with
other
regards to taking testosterone. I'm sure that's what he's.
Oh, even without ovaries, there have been. I knew a couple of trans guys who had a hysterectomy, and they still had high doses because something that the testosterone does converts it within the body. You don't even have to have ovaries to actually have high doses of estrogen.
And really, I mean, honestly, the bottom line is that an unleaded gas body doesn't work with diesel, and diesel doesn't work with unleaded, you know. So comparing the testosterone estrogen thing, you know, is it's something that, you know, as a trans person, you want it to work, you want it to be possible, but is it really, or is it really hurting you?
See, another thing with trans guys that I've noticed, there's a lot of problem with brain function. And I noticed that within myself, and I noticed that with a lot of trans guys, they start losing the availability of finding words as they are thinking. There's also a lot of ligament problems, bone problems, because the body is just not accepting that hormone. In this particular study, I don't think they went deep enough into all the different, they just looked at the cancer, the heart, you know, things of that nature. But there's other, I mean, they could do studies for eons and find all sorts of different things. What I have found with trans guys is that the word connection, having problems thinking, bones get really brittle fast, and ligaments, and they break for no reason. They also age very quickly. That's one thing I noticed with, you know, the trans guys with testosterone. I mean, bottom line, your body, like Lena just said, you know, diesel and gas. I mean, what doesn't belong in you, you know, is going to cause problems, and especially long term.
So Martin writes, he says, your song and artwork will be done by tomorrow.
All right.
6
Good
p.m.
job.
UK time. I'll send it over. And he's like, how are you both?
We're doing great. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything you do for us. My God, you know, you're amazing. And she said, join us. Yes. Okay. Right here. Your turn.
Thank you, Suze. Thank you very much. Still, Dr. Joshua Safer, another author of the study and executive director of the Transgender Medicine Center at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, isn't that the same place that they took Jazz?
Yes.
Said that while the cardiovascular risk is higher for transgender women, it's not that high. There were 148 cardiovascular events recorded out of the 2,842 transgender women in the 8-year period.
The confirmation of this risk is good to have so patients can be warned and precautions can be taken, he said in an interview. But I think most transgender women would conclude the risk is not high enough to forego hormone therapy.
Dr. Richard Green, an associate professor of medicine and director of health disparities education at the New York University School of Medicine, is a primary care doctor who treats many transgender patients. He said that transgender people are often denied hormone therapy and that a person's gender identity is often not factored into medical studies.
So this is a great study, and I'm not surprised by its conclusion, he told NBC News. But my concern is that doctors who are inclined to deny hormone therapy will use the study as a reason not to do so. And again, they're always trying to put their little, well, because it's big pharma. You know, there's like, they just had the study and they're like,
well, Dr. Safer works at Mount Sinai, so what's he gonna?
Yeah.
Why is he gonna say no?
No, exactly, because that's their business. So they say here that there needs to be more studies focused on trans-identified people so we can learn risks specific to them and provide better care.
Okay, so here's my question. Transgender people have been around now for maybe 25 years or so now in the current system.
Mm-hmm.
Why hasn't there been somebody that's been compassionate enough as a medical professional to do these said studies? Why do they always say, well, we don't know, so we're going to have to do studies in the future.
Yeah.
But for now,
this is what we got.
This is all we have. And I will interject this. I don't believe that they want to do studies.
Of course not.
Because it's like, why would the cell phone industry want to do studies on the radiation risk of cell phone radiation if it's going to cause them not to be able to sell cell phones or have people using cell phones?
You know, or how well can you trust the study? I mean, this study right now is trying to be whatever, but they're still going, well, okay, we're going to give you some truths, but then we're going to fill it up with lies. You know, and as we've seen, you know, there's been a lot of older trans women that have had a lot of problems with the
Yeah.
long-term use, from blood clots to strokes. Okay, we're better off.
April says because they are too busy feeding themselves on others' suffering. April says, yes, Lena.
Yeah, exactly. I try to put ourselves back in HD. I think we got.
My first transgender full sex change friend was 78, I think. It was done in Cairo.
Let me see. Is it? I tried changing it back, but I don't know. It looks like we're stuck.
I don't know.
Let's see. Do looks a little bit better now.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way to know for sure is to
People,
ask people
yeah,
in
we
the
just
chat.
try to put.
It looks like it's
still doing stuff.
Is it pausing, you guys, like we see, or is it? Wait, it might be getting back up to speed. It looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It looks better.
All right. So yeah, I mean, it's like.
So, yeah, I mean, they don't want to do anything that's going to compromise their bottom line, right? Their bottom line is to make money.
Of course.
That's what they want to do.
Look at what they did with Jazz. We watched the episode where the doctors were very concerned. They had to have 3 doctors because they had to go into the stomach and take some perineum, something they haven't done ever.
Perineum.
Yeah, the perineum.
It's like
it's the lining of the stomach that they had to use.
A special doctor in the operating room that was doing that surgery of pulling out basically Jazz's gut.
Yeah, to make a lining because they didn't have enough growth because they were on puberty blockers.
And Dr. Bowers, the lead doctor in charge of the surgery, said that because the surgery was because the blocking of the puberty was so successful that they didn't have enough material organ tissue in the genital area in order to make a lining for the skin, for the vaginal. And it's like, it wasn't that it was so good. It was that it screwed this child's development to the point where not only are they impaired in their physical development, in their secondary sex characteristics, but they have not been able to mature any up in their frontal cerebral cortex area.
Has not been able to have an orgasm.
No orgasm.
And the doctor was concerned because they needed to make sure that that orgasmic nerve was working. So when they did the surgery, there could be a chance, because we know the chances are very slim for that happening because it's, it messes with everything down there. So, I just really looking into this. This is like total junk science. This is Frankensteinian type of work. This is stuff that they're learning as they go along. We are the guinea pigs.
Well, the scary thing is that if you guys ever want to watch it, it's on TLC, but basically these doctors were right up until the point of the surgery for Jazz back in June, telling the patient and the parents, hey, look, we're kind of working at a loss here. We are not sure what we're going to do in the operating room. We're going to put our minds together and try to figure it out as we wing it.
Yeah, because that's what
they were doing. And when we were watching the show, they were like, okay, get it. No.
Yeah, it's
put it in.
I was like nervous. I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill this person.
My gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, so it's like these doctors do not come from an area of compassion.
Or experience.
They are looking to these children as living cadavers to be able to do experiments on them and to be able to say, this is revolutionary. This has never been done before.
Yeah, we're the first to do it.
This is the first time we put a pig brain inside of a human. Yeah. And it's like, why do we have to do this to our transgender youth? This is wrong.
Right. It's totally wrong. And it's the complications that they've already, when we watch the show, they have many complications already. And it's like, what for? Really? What is this whole concept, this whole focus on the outside.
And the fact that Jazz wanted to have a beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, well, sisters out there, you know, how many of you actually go and look at your God-given vagina, okay, and go, gosh, she's so beautiful. I mean, I've been with women.
I wonder how much depth I have.
I don't even know how much depth I have.
You know, so Jazz gets out of the surgery, barely can even be cognizant, and says, oh, what do I have? How much depth do I have?
It's like this whole obsession.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's an obsession which leads you to that autogynephilic type of mentality, even in younger kids, you know, because it's the obsession with the breast and the obsession with these. It's like, how many of you really have an obsession with your sexual organs? And, you know, I've been with women since I was 13. I never once went to one of my girlfriends and go, God, baby, you've got the most beautiful vajayjay I've ever seen. I mean, it's
so symmetrical.
Yeah, and it's like,
oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Women don't talk about that kind of stuff. At least not that. And I've had a lot of, and then it's like, so there's something really wrong here. Martin said the title doctor is overtrusted. To be human means potential corruption, error, and judgment. Totally. I mean, they're not, I mean, they put one leg at a time like everybody else.
Deb B, thank you so much. She says, happy birthday, Lena. Aquarius are the cool ones of the zodiac. Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome.
And hey, AK, thank you for tuning in. Yes, sheep, cattle, lots of it. Lots of them.
And Martin says,
for some reason, some parents think if their boy plays with dollhouse, they are a girl and makes that choice for them. Then slowly transition them of having a feminine boy or an socially awkward boy or whatever it is. So they don't want it to reflect on them. So it's like, oh, it's a condition. It's not my fault. It's a condition. And so they have to go through the whole thing now.
I find it very disturbing that Mark has always said that Jeanette Jennings is very much a Munchausen mother.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Here's this child, barely out of surgery, goes to the hospital, gets released early for whatever reason. They thought they could just release this child,
right,
who's in obvious pain.
Right.
Wheels them out to a van to get into the car, and the wheelchair didn't even have leg rests. So we're talking about a person with stitches that are very tight,
and the legs being dangled like this,
legs are stretched out like that. But one thing happens, something happens, and the child feels tearing of some sort. So that would immediately tell me, you need to go back in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And the mom's like, well,
it'll be okay.
I don't think it won't be that bad, you know. So then they get to the hospital. Get to the hotel room. The kid is in serious pain. Okay, the mom is griping, just drudging the whole concept of having to stay with this child, having to nurse this child, having to clean up the pee of this child. I mean, it's like she is like so like disgusted.
Yeah, like she doesn't know
what to do.
I'm like, lady, you birthed 4 kids.
To be compassionate.
All she wanted was the limelight, and that's what she got. You know, Jazz was her ticket to where she wanted to be. And, you know, it's so clear to me, you know, the whole personality type. But, you know, it's imperative that people really understand this for what it is. You know, this phenomenon has taken over, and people have to really, really pay close attention to what's going on. And again, we're not telling people not to express, not to be genuine to who they are, but to be genuine to who you are doesn't mean that you have to go taking drugs and cutting yourself up, because that means you're not genuine. You're trying to be something that you're not. You're trying to fit into a box. That's not genuine.
April says, I find it very interesting that when in the womb, if the conditions are dangerous, the fetus will revert to female. I want to point out the psychology of trans in this epigenetic implication. Interesting that I believe that when we were just watching Wayne Steiger talking about the divine feminine, really.
Right.
And the fact that, you know, the default of humanity is a female.
Well, I don't want to say that the default is a female. What happens is there's undifferentiated is the default. In other words, it could be a male or a female, but the undifferentiated is, it's like saying the default, right? But the default, it depends on the hormone being bathed, what if the ovaries will drop and become testicle and things of that nature.
But what I'm saying, in the ultimate scheme of life, before we were divided as male and female,
right?
I would venture to say that the more prominent version of a human would have been a female androgynous human,
right?
You know,
right.
So that's what I was saying,
right?
And maybe that is why the fetus at first is more female, the fetus, before it then changes with the Y chromosome.
I had the doctor that I would do a lot of interviews with, the gender specialist, Dr. Gloria, explain it, that the fetus is undifferentiated. In other words, it doesn't have a particular sex yet. So depending on the hormones will depend what happens.
I thought you said we all are born.
No, I thought that originally, but when I looked more into it, it's not. It's undifferentiated. That's the word to look for. And I'm trying to understand what April's trying to say here.
April's saying that if there's stress in the first trimester or second trimester or whatever, I guess, of the development in the womb,
in an intersex condition, what happens is it's not really a revert. That's what I was trying to explain, because it's undifferentiated. And I'll find an article, and we could do that for a transgender corner, because really this whole thing, we started with the transgender corner because of an individual that came in, and I kind of knew when they come in with that kind of thing, that's exactly what they're going to do, because no one, before even emailing us or saying, hey, I want to have a question, you know. Yeah. So we kind of threw off the whole pattern of the show because of a chatter, but never to be done again, because I'm always going to go from now on with my gut feeling and say, no, if they want to discuss it, they'll wait till that section of the show becomes available. She said the interesting breed danger and womb. Okay.
This is Martin. Says, happy birthday, Lena. Thank you, Martin. Another year closer to becoming part of the universe. Sorry, It's just my dark humor. Hope you had a good day. Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
you know, this whole game we play here on the planet, I'm sure that there's much more to life.
A lot more. This whole very limited reality that we have that is just so dark and worthless. And April says, could it be related to harm and abuse, wounding for natal males? What is exactly the question? Could it be related to harm? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens in utero before the baby even comes out of the mother's womb. The nervous system is being developed. Every part of your body is being developed. So if there's a lot of stress involved, you're going to have a lot of neurological, which this is why we're seeing a lot of autism and a lot of, you know, children with ADHD, children that have a lot of behavioral issues, a lot of gender confused kids, because the nervous system and the endocrine system are very important into the development of a person. And when stuff like that is being attacked, and we know it is with all the chemicals, then we're going to have individuals that come out compromised.
So Martin says, do you regret exposing Jazz now, Mark? Would they even speak to you now?
Oh, no, they won't, because I've tried speaking against it and they were like really upset at me for it. And it's like, you know, I wish I would have never, ever brought, because I don't believe that would have gotten to the point, because Barbara Walter was big. And when they read my article on the Miami, they were haunting me because they couldn't get a hold of them because it was a fake name. And so they whined and they dined me, and I had to like plead, you know, Jeanette and Greg at the time. And Greg was opposed to it completely. Greg, I mean, an attorney, he wanted to take care of his family. He was worried, and he should have been, you know. And so, yes, I do regret it totally. Because it's just opened up a can of worms.
Yeah. April says, for me, this is an interesting line of inquiry. I just made this association yesterday.
Hey, AK. So AK says, do you think you're special just because you have a birthday today? You're something special every day. That's my point. That's exactly.
You know, and Mark's number, his life path number is 11. So he's a teacher, and he's literally made a pact with the universe to come down here to teach us all. You know, I'm not that person. I'm not the teacher. I am a person that's here to learn and to grow and to absorb and to ingest what it is that I have to learn in this lifetime. And you know, I don't have all the wonder wisdom that he has. I just have myself. And for me, my birthday is special because it's my day. You know, maybe it's my limited lower level of thinking, but this is where I'm at. I enjoy it. It just comes once a year. And yeah, every day is a special day, but you know, a birthday, I'm still human. I'm sorry.
Right. So Martin says the amount of doctor these days who give in to trans ideology instead of what medical school thought then is shocking. They're more like evil scientists playing with human biology. Yeah, what was that doctor that was like?
Dr. Spack.
Yeah.
Okay, in Denmark, he went to Europe to look at how they were doing this puberty suppression technique with youth. And you know how Europe is world renowned for being like experimenters of humans and stuff. So he found out that there was a way to suppress puberty in children, and he salivated. This is a man who used to like, you know, look at like the sex differentiation of newts and, you know, animals and stuff like that. So this is a man who also used to operate a transition clinic under the table outside of Boston Children's Hospital for cross-dressers and late transitioners. And he was on the board doing seminars at cross-dressing conventions and BDSM rallies. Yeah. And this man is the man behind the whole puberty suppression thing. And this guy salivated, okay? There's something sexual
and
sinister about saying that he salivated at the chance of bringing this type of understanding across to the United States. Because look what's happened now. Now, the amount of youth transgender clinics has skyrocketed.
It has.
It's just really like people are doing it now, and it's like a new line of work for people. You know, pediatricians are now going into gender clinic transition,
and they're learning
medicine, and they're
as they go along, because there is no doctor that is, you know, a specialist in gender transformation or to doing these surgeries. I mean, one is teaching the other, and it's pretty much urologists and gynecologists that have kind of a vague idea of how those parts work. But this whole transitioning thing, it's all guinea pig stuff. It's learning as they go along, shooting from the hip. And that's wrong. And you're putting your kids in severe danger, and you adults are putting yourself in severe danger by going in and doing things that hasn't been done. It's relatively very new.
April says, I'm thinking of it as a survival mechanism for the species during pregnancy. The rest is my own speculation. I'm going to research further into this.
Yeah.
You know, AK, I'm not offended by you saying that. It's just that Mark has a tendency of being of more understanding of higher things. And I'm still here on planet Earth, whereas Mark sometimes is like in another planet because he's not from here. You know, he has wisdom and understanding that applies to us, but it's like he understands things on a frequency that's above me. So when I go, he hasn't been bad about it. It's just, it's just like when he hears you say this, he's like, ah, yes, that's right. It's every day,
I was just acknowledging him because that's how I feel every day is, data. I'm not much for any type of earthly celebration because I see that it's part of the matrix. Okay.
I'm a 5. So I'm a 5. I like to experience life. I love my freedom. I love new experiences. I love taking risks and challenges. So for me, it's different than for Mark. So
Carmen joins us and she says, happy birthday, Lynette.
Thank you, Carmen.
That was cute.
I'm not sure. Jazz. Oh, Who's Martin?
Okay, Jazz is basically a poster child for other confused, bullied, gay, different kids to become trans because they think they might make it famous and have money. Yeah, and if you watch that show, there's one, I forgot their name, that looks like they really have a lot of issues. I don't even want to like label what kind of issues, but you know, I don't understand why anybody would do this to a kid. You know, I really don't. It's kind of scary. You know, it's really to put a child, you know which one I'm talking about, that had the breakdown at the dance. Nobody enjoyed the actual prom because a lot of transgender individuals have problems socializing. They have a problem communicating. They get upset about everything. You know, everything is just, you know, and when they're younger, it's even worse because they're in that teenage years, which it's already hard to be a teenager.
So just imagine for a second, we're talking about suppressing the puberty of a person who's already going through a lot in their physical development, their body. You know, some people say that teenagers aren't even human. You know, that they're like kind of caught in between being a child and an adult.
And an alien, probably.
I mean, the soft spot on our head, we just found out, doesn't close till what?
Gosh, they said 35.
35. So, okay. So
the bone, not the soft, the bone,
right.
the fusion that we have fully closes at 35.
So we have these kids having their puberty suppressed at like Jazz at 9 years old. The kid can't even develop as a human being, as the human being that they were intended to develop as. You know, if you want to make changes in the future and stuff, I highly recommend not to. But if that's something that you must do in order to whatever, then that's on you. But parents suppressing the children of kids whose bone density, platelets, neurologically,
the brain and its function. I mean everything's being suppressed.
We're not just talking about their voice not dropping. We're not just talking about breasts not forming, you know, on the FTM ones. I mean, it's like there's so much more. I mean, this kid hasn't even experienced an orgasm.
And if you look at them, they're going to turn 18. I remember when I was 18, I was already living out of the house. I was working. I had my own, you know, and it's like this child. I mean, they don't even have the adult essence about them because they've been catered to, and then being puberty blocked, there's no development whatsoever. None whatsoever. So anyway, that's about as much as we're going to say about the trans thing for the trans corner. But let's see. Dear, so yeah, stop talking, clicking, knocking, and gaslighting me. Who is?
I don't know. Say it private. So who's Martin says, how long until the trans community starts accepting the LGBTQP? Because we all know pedophiles are reliable and deserving citizens.
Right. And that's already, even though the P is not on there yet, pretty much has been, that P has been lingering in the LGBT for the longest time. You know, there's a lot of older men that go into gay clubs and hit on younger gay men, you know, and when I mean younger, I'm talking about probably even like 14, 15, God only knows. I mean, we've seen that for the longest time. So it's just to make it official, they'll add that P in there, you know, that's about it. So if you're not natural, you've been made, you are an experiment in most cases. And we're totally an experiment. That's what most people fail to see, that, you know, even the way they think doesn't even come from themselves, because they're not thinking with their soul. They're thinking with the brain that has been programmed and controlled by the creators of this flesh suit that we have.
Tracy Roberts, happy birthday, Lena. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Who's Martin says, I can't judge Lena because all I see is honesty. But when I see trans people, all I see is drama, even after transitioning. Obviously, it didn't work out. Work did it, and they influence each other to do it.
And you're totally right. You're totally right. I mean, I've done so much research, and I've followed people through the years. Like I just explained, you know, that those two that I interviewed, the wife and the trans woman, you know, it's like their life fell apart. You know, they were homeless. The wife left them. Because even though the wife was trying to be as, you know, as accepting and as supportive as possible, these transgender women are impossible to live with. You know, they're just, it's like me, I. The world revolves around them. And, you know, it doesn't matter how much the wife is trying to give and how much they're trying to, okay, we'll do this. Okay. And it's just, it's never enough. It's always never enough.
You know, there was this, this trans person that I met back in 2014 when I was transitioning earlier. And they had a very, very supportive spouse. I mean, their spouse would do anything for them. They went to Vegas together. You know, they took pictures together. They shopped together. And, you know, this is with this person transitioned, and they went to do their wedding vows again. And they took a video, and they were doing like videos together, teaching people in the trans community, supportive spouse. And all of a sudden, this person decided that they wanted to take it even further. And, you know, I think their spouse didn't want them to have a breast augmentation or something.
Right. And,
you know, they're like, oh no, I'm going to have it, you know? Mm-hmm. So they had it. Well, the wife left them. Mm-hmm. And, now she's a happy lesbian.
And before was a heterosexual individual.
A heterosexual couple that went to Christian school together.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Went to Christian high school together.
The psyche.
Have 2 children.
Right. The psyche, the abuse, because it's abuse. What the transgender women are doing to women and other people is abuse. They're very narcissistic and it's very abusive. Okay. And so as much as a woman is willing to give, because a woman is willing to do a lot. Okay. They're willing to give a lot, but it gets to a point where like, wait a minute, how much more can I give? You know, and it ends up the way that, you know, and you're right, Martin, they're miserable. They're full of drama, you know, and let's say maybe not all of them are. Let's say that there's a few percentage that might be, you know, somewhat socially adaptable and they're not narcissistic, but the large majority have issues, and issues that need to be contended with, issues that need to be dealt with before they start handing hormones and surgeries like they're handing out candy.
Teen says, Aquarius, January 28th. All right, fellow Aquarius. April says, we all have our gifts and talents. It's not a competition to me. Lena, you're a wonderful two-spirit, and I'm honored to have met you both. Enjoy your birthday. There's only one each year. Thank you so much. And you know, again, I don't mean to be disrespectful to AK. I was just, you know, I'm just expressing my own limited humanity, you know, because I don't operate at those higher frequencies of.
But, you know, I'm very proud of you because you have come from being a very hardcore Christian, very set in your ways and your beliefs, and you have allowed yourself, you know, and not because I've pushed you, because I never, on the contrary, I went to your side and tried to, okay, well, we're a married couple. I kind of put my beliefs in the back burner and try to understand yours and try to live in yours. But it was you yourself that, you know, ventured out and wanted to grow, because you have that curious personality, and you do learn, you know, you do. I mean, it's not like you're like totally closed off. I mean, you've come a long way since you and I have been together. Yeah. I'm very proud of you.
Well, I want to know the truth. That's all I'm after. You know, at the end of the day, if I made a mistake, I'll backtrack and I'll apologize. I'll, you know, clean up my mess or whatever, but I just want to know the truth. And I think one of the reasons I even did this is because I wanted to know the truth about me, about not the fact that I wasn't born male. I mean, that is obvious, but the fact that, you know, I don't find that connection with Christianity anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. So let's start with our control matrix is crashing because the truth seekers are winning. And, you know, back in 2008, when I did my awakening and just my world flipped upside down, I'm downloads beyond belief, and just my world changed completely. I was thought of crazy back then, and I'm seeing so many people waking up, and it makes me very happy to know that other people are rising up, you know. And yes, April said that we're all in a different place, and that's true. And it's not a competition. I mean, no one's better than anyone. We will eventually all get there because we are all one. We're all connected. Some of us have lived many more lifetimes. We have a little bit ahead, but it doesn't make us any better because consciousness is connected. We're all one. So I'm happy to see what's going on. I'm happy to see that there's so many more truth seekers and there's more people awakening. And that means that the consciousness is developing and it's becoming closer and closer to be more one, and great things are going to happen. So the way the masses view the world is a farce. And we know that. You know, that's why AK mentioned whatever, because it's a farce. It's about money, materialism, happy days, this day. They're telling you, like, today's the day for you to laugh. Tomorrow you can't laugh. Tomorrow you got to go back to your regular job and your regular schedule program. So they're dictating you. You know, when you're awake and you're like, I ain't your slave. You ain't got to tell me when to celebrate. Every single mainstream perspective is either purposely deceptive or completely misses the point.
Even the people in places of influence who we're meant to trust have either sold out or are just plain ignorant to the facts. And there's no need to have a heavy heart, though. The matrix of control is crashing because the truth seekers are dealing heavy blows to the false narratives that have for too long shaped the collective mindset of humanity.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's rooted. Of course, the internet can be celebrated for being the primary mechanism which has amplified sharing of information across location, race, culture, and belief system. I mean, we have to be grateful for that. But in retrospect, the powers that will no longer be would be kicking themselves for not trying harder to institute their insidious plan for humanity prior to the birth and growth of the World Wide Web. It's almost like, damn, we didn't dumb them enough before we did this.
Yeah. Make no mistake, though, they have been very successful on many fronts.
Oh, gosh.
For example, let's try to imagine a world where most journalists don't report the real news.
Isn't that what's happening now?
The majority of doctors don't truly understand the causes of poor health and how to legitimately resolve it.
And don't. It's all a pill or a surgery. A high proportion of politicians don't know how the money supply works and what the agenda is of those who control it. Many so-called experts, scientists, believe it is a discredited philosophy which resembles a dogmatic religion.
The majority of teachers don't realize they're teaching a system of indoctrination that nowhere near gets close to the information and critical thinking that should be afforded our kids. And the masses are not only ill-informed, divided, and feverishly fighting against each other over small and irrelevant topics, but they are also sleepwalking through one of the most majestic and reverent realities that could have ever been conceptualized.
And let's read some of the stuff so we don't fall behind.
April says,
yes, absolutely. I saw it and treated it as an experiment. Guys, but I am an exploratory kind of soul, and I'm willing to take responsibility for my choices. I speak only for myself.
Hi, Todd.
Hey, thank you for joining us.
If you're convicted, Martin says, of transphobic online abuse, you could get 5 years in jail, but you rape a child, 2 years.
Tell me that's not messed up. Tell me that that's not taking away freedom of speech. Tell me that's not telling people that they have to believe a lie, or else if they don't believe the lie, they're going to be penalized for it. If human beings aren't getting outraged, and I mean outraged by what's going on, then they've got a few screws missing in their heads, because who in the heck is anybody to tell me that I have to look at someone that looks like a man and call them a woman? I know what a woman is. I know what a woman smells like, tastes like, and looks like. No one's going to tell me what to call somebody else if I don't see it or I don't believe it. That's just wrong.
So Todd says, well, I've made it to day 9 with no meat. Awesome. And if you can make it to day 9, you can make it to day 99. Yeah. Honestly, we haven't had any meat since this summer when we were eating some of it. But, you know, I don't miss it. Honestly, I used to be huge meat eater. I mean, I loved my pork ribs and my barbecue bacon and all the steaks and Outback and all that stuff. But I mean, there is not a meal that I'm eating in which I crave meat. Even like last year, I could have craved meat. You know, like last year at this time, we went and celebrated my birthday.
Yes, we went from doing a fast and we got into the keto as an experiment. I've been a vegan since 2008. And Linda was dealing with candidas and stuff. So we did the keto to see.
What we ended up doing was realizing that in order to do keto, we were like, oh my gosh, so we can't really eat grains. Remember how
it was very limited.
It was limited, and then we watched a YouTube video of this African American woman talking about how she would have incorporated eggs in her diet. But I mean, I do not miss meat at all.
No.
I do not miss it, and there are awesome substitutes these days. I mean, it's amazing. We just had, some chicken nuggets today
that were made out of
soy.
Plant-based.
Yeah.
And let's see, she says, well done, Todd. Totally well done, Todd. Congratulations, definitely. And April says, I would only warn you this one time. You have hate inside of you, and I know it. No time out. You will be gone, CP. So what I say,
This person, Sita, and they're criticizing. She said it. She said,
you get her, April.
Yeah. Get rid of the people that don't need to be here.
Yeah.
So
let's see here. Oh, okay.
Who's Martin?
News article are corrupt. The BBCs are ran by bad people who lie about even the smallest things to corrupt the viewers. I don't follow any news article. I have a few selected people I trust. That's true.
Yeah.
When you read something, it's almost like you have to learn how to decipher. It's like a coding, and then take your truth meter and go, if this is bullshit or if this is true. And then, because sometimes I throw in some truths and mix it with lies. So you have to know what's what. Okay. So exactly, Mark, on the forcing of speech. Yeah. It's crazy. And it's like, what was it? Something I read, it's like women have been told how to feel, how to think. Oh, I just read an article, which I'm going to put in one of our trans corner, on an FTM, pretty much you're a woman trying to become a man, in a group of trans people. Well, trans women dominate the freaking groups. They're like looking at the trans guy like, shut up, little guy. You know how many times I've been called little man? We don't want to hear from you. I'm like, wait a minute. I know. It's like, wait a minute. I got the power, don't I?
You don't want.
Yeah, but they want to wear the dresses and the wigs, but they don't want to let go of the power. It's like, no, you can't have it both ways. I'm sorry, So, okay, go ahead.
Martin says, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Douglas Murray are people whose words I trust. Even then, I check facts and statistics.
Always, you have to. Because things, even studies, are skewed. You have to be peer reviews. You can't trust peer reviews. You got to kind of like, really decipher things. Yeah, I do see things. Oh, sorry.
AK said.
Even the air is corrupted. I know. We're not even breathing clean air. And we live in a small town, which we think it would be a lot cleaner than any city. But what they're doing to the skies is crazy.
So she said it says that it's smoky there because Tasmania's on fire.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Wow.
And Kev Baker is doing a show on this Today Keto diet.
Very dangerous.
I would not recommend a diet that is made up of saturated fat.
Did we not talk about it the other day? I thought we had a show. If not, I could have put another show regarding or a section about it. But put it this way, your gallbladder is not intended to take that amount of high fat.
No.
Your body's not meant to eat all that amount of protein. You are a carbon-based being, not a nitro-based being, which means your body will require protein. So the amount of protein that we need is very minimal, and we should get it from plant-based sources, not animal products, because it ruins our pH. It ruins our health completely.
Thank you. She said it. We appreciate what you do, and I'm so glad that you react.
Thank you.
And
I know you got our back. And April, we thank you so much.
Yes,
Totally. You guys are awesome.
Yes, I do see things like this. I do not lie. Yeah.
The thought police are here.
No, Sita, we don't pretend anything. I know I was born male. Mark knows is born female. Yeah. I mean, we know our biology. It's not a mystery to us. Whether we choose to express our gender, how we express it, that's up to us to decide. But yes, you are right. I did believe the lie. I did believe that I could cross my transition meant to become a woman from being a man. It's not possible. So the real deal escapes you while you become what you pretend you wish to be. I don't pretend to wish to be anything. I'm just me.
Yeah.
And you know,
and I know I'm a woman. I may have
Yeah.
a beard because of the years of testosterone.
it may
but-
be hard for people to
Yeah.
believe that. You know,
Yeah.
that's with Mark, you know, it was such a good job, you know, that you know, people don't believe him. And he's like, what do I have to do? Pull my pants down? I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that indecent exposure?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, with me, it's more obvious. I'm tall. I'm, you know, whatever. So, but I mean, regardless, I mean, this is about spreading love, acceptance,
And educating people.
tolerance.
And we're telling people not to do this. This does not solve anything, and it actually creates a lot more problems. Hey, Renee, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the happy birthday wishes, Renee. And thank you again for the happy birthday wishes on Facebook, too.
Yes.
Ditto regarding C. I'm maybe too honest.
Well, it's good to be honest. I'm honest all the way, and it may hurt people, the honesty. But if I have to tiptoe around things, if I have to lie to make you feel better, then I'm being injustice to myself because I can't lie, you know, and it's just so.
Oh, that is pathetic. I am glad I've never witnessed this or would have spoken up very loudly, Mark. Who's Martin says?
Off topic, but quick note. Men who claim to be trans behave like crossdresser and overly feminine. I know. I've never seen a woman who is an overly feminine as a man trying to be a woman. It's like a bad act. Trust me, bro. I've been with women since I was 13 years old. That's why when I see all that, I'm like, what are they doing? Right? What is this? It's like when you eat something that's too sweet, and after a while you're like, you don't want it because it's fake, you know, and that fakeness it's just so it's hard to deal with that kind of fakeness.
Hi, all. Favor and peace always. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you for joining us. All right, send me tomorrow. I appreciate all the interaction you give me, Martin, and watching. I watched that other one that you sent the other day. It's like they all wanted to call it transphobic if men don't want to date them. And you should have seen the comments on that video. It's like some guys were really like, and then they wonder why people piss on them, you know? April says, you're more merciful than I am. She said, but I made this clear from the start. You get them. And John,
Thanks,
hey, John.
Birthday wishes to you, Lena, for sure. Thank you.
All right, so let's continue here. So,
welcome to our world. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
As we begin what we call the 21st century, every system that should be designed to facilitate the health and vitality of people has been hacked with lies, deception, dysfunction, and disharmony.
All the D's. It is easy to think that this is embarrassment for our species because it's beneath our intelligence and ethical capacity. Yet there's no need to lose faith in this inevitable betterment of humanity, including the way in which we organize and economize our societies.
Why? Because of all this dysfunction has been an effective driver of the collective awakening that is rising in the hearts and minds of humanity. The inspiring fact is that more and more people are slowly waking up and realizing we all have the opportunity to come to our own informed opinion on the truth pertaining to both the spiritual and systemic reality.
So all the bad stuff that's happened has really allowed us to awaken, you know, and it's allowed us to see, you know, the reality of what is. So many more people now understand the mainstream news is not to be taken seriously, that is to know where we can find information which is aligned with the deeper truths.
They're also acknowledging that we have the choice on what we decide to personally stand and fight for, as well as the legacy we leave for our children and our future generations.
Beware, though, once we exit the matrix of control, we're faced with some serious challenges. We have a lot of inner work to do, such as designing a philosophy that ensures we are at peace, as well as exercising patience in the quest to take back our liberties and design a legitimate and honorable future for humanity. With great powers comes great responsibility, and that's why it's so important So important to do the inner work, to shed the baggage, to shed the ideals, to shed what we think we should look like or be, because it will shoot us in the foot.
That's why we've got to feel for those who've been long aware of the many dysfunctions of our world, especially those who have not learned peace and patience. Slowly, they've watched the military-industrial complex, media, politico-banking complex increase their power and continue their pillage across the world. Pharmaceutical monopolies, amplifying the drugging of society, as well as keeping many of us so sick that they maximize their profits. And companies like Monsanto buying Bayer, a drug company being purchased by a chemical company.
So Martin says, oops, I just moved. No, go down.
He's retracted it.
Oh, did he?
Hmm?
So many would call me racist, not knowing the impact of the word. I was just getting ready to read your comment, Martin. And boom. Anyway, movements rise up only to be vilified and disassembled, such as the Occupy movement. Science turned into a corporate institution, as well as further hijacked by an inaccurate and small-minded philosophy of reality.
War is purposely created with millions of people dying for the whims of the shadow empire. Radical extremists massaged into proxy armies to do dirty work for the collapsing power structure.
Air, medicine, food, and water becoming purposely more toxic. Governmental policy increasingly being determined by corporate elite interests. The lobbyists are the ones creating all the laws and altering everything in big corp. And then the elites, I mean, people think they have choices. They have no choices. We're puppets.
Yeah.
We're not even mind puppets. We're like slaves.
The whole comment about God, the Christian God from the Old Testament, New Testament, giving us a free will.
Mm-hmm.
If we had a free will, okay, he wouldn't tell us that we're going to hell if we don't do what his will is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a free will, but if you make the wrong free will choice, then you will suffer forever.
Yeah, that's not free will. That's like saying,
free will.
You're going to be with me, baby, or else I'm going to shoot you. I mean, it's like what? So Martin said, I'm naturally more attracted to white women. Skin doesn't bother me, but sexually, it's a natural feeling I have. Would you call that racist? That's what I would call a preference, not by choice. And you have every right to go to bed with what you desire. Just because you prefer fair-skinned women over darker-skinned women doesn't make you a racist. It just gives you a preference. Like some people like chocolate, other people like vanilla. You should have a choice, and it's like, that's not racism in my opinion. That's just like,
that's just personal. Yeah. Like he said, that's personal preference.
Exactly.
But John says, I am concerned about this big push for vaccinations. What are your thoughts?
Totally. I mean, it's scary. They've been slowly doing this to the point now where they're just forcing everyone. And it's like, people need to stand up and say, no, we ain't doing this. We lived without vaccine for years. It's like people need to be immune naturally. Mothers need to give breast milk to their kids. And there was an article that I read today. It's just that whole connection between mother and child, and it just helps with the immune system. That's how you develop immunization towards things, through drinking your mother's milk, to being exposed through things. This synthetic way of dealing with things is killing our species.
I remember after 9/11, I went to New York City. It was like November, a couple months after the attacks, and there was all this militarization of the police. I mean, like you walk down the street, they had the fire department, like all the cop cars around the fire department, like making a wall around it. And, this article is continuing saying police are being militarized around the globe. I mean, here in Silver City, it's like what they're driving around in Humvees.
Yeah, and they have all these
they've got these
gear,
flak jackets.
And, do you know something we don't know?
It's like, are you guys protecting us? Or because we don't really have a gang problem here.
I know.
I mean, I don't know why they have to be so militant.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And then when I worked the convention back in 2008, all the military, you know, it was like forming a perimeter. And just like, you know, at one point I was outside and stuff on a break, and I was coming back inside, and there was this swath of like of troops just kind of like pushing the people back, you know, kind of cleaning out the area, you know. And it was like, whoa, what kind of world have we become? You know,
it's totally crazy.
So the education model is struggling to become less of an indoctrination system, and the agenda of global governance becoming closer to fruition.
Totally. Some people have known about much of this for decades, so we should commend them for continuing to fight the good fight. They might have witnessed some disheartening developments, yet as much as all this sounds dire, they have also seen millions of people disengage from the propaganda narrative and align themselves with the systemic and spiritual pathways that will be the next stage of our evolution.
The point is that even though we need to be patient and persevere, we should also recognize and celebrate the achievements that have been made so far. There are economists who want to transform the Keynesian model to legitimate alternatives.
Teachers who understand the massive holes in the indoctrination systems called public education. That's a joke altogether. Scientists who want to evolve the way energy is created and shared. This day and age, we shouldn't be using petrol for gas or to get things to move. That is so barbaric. They have things hidden and put away that we would not need to generate energy the way we do with these old ways. More efficient, healthy for the planet. Health practitioners who see the limits of mechanistic and pharmacological medicines and the need for the reintroduction of natural and plant-based therapies, yes.
Journalists who demand that the media monopolies need to be disassembled. Environmentalists who want to transition the way food is grown and distributed. Community leaders who aim to reintegrate them to better support its members.
Politicians who understand the democratic system has been hijacked by big money. Activists who campaign for revolutions in our value systems, and futurists who want to change the systemic template for our societal health and well-being. And there are a lot of good people out there that really want to do this, but they're not being allowed. So read what Who's Martin says there.
So April says, heck no, Martin, that's not racist.
Not at all.
So Martin says, I'm not saying I wouldn't date a black person or an Asian person. It's just what gives me that feeling. You know what I mean?
It's preference, you know, preference. I hear you and I totally get you, you know? And then he says, don't get me started on 9/11, Lena. That needs a stream of its own. I think of the views than conspiracy craze. And now with YouTube,
we'll get blocked
with their algorithm stuff, you can't even speak about that because
I mean, just because I said it, I'm sure we'll get something.
No, I don't know. I think you either have to have pictures or I don't know.
April says, I go for the spirit myself. Appearance is a secondary consideration. Who's Martin? Generally, this is true. 2 white partners, 10 years plus now. My current partner and potential hubbies from Ghana.
Yeah.
So.
And oops, like I said, who's Martin? In the dark of all of them are equal.
All of them are equal.
But it's, you know, I mean, when you fall in love, you fall in love with whomever you're going to fall in love with. I mean, I don't think the heart has any preference, but before you fall in love and you're dating someone and you know, you've got to have some sort of attraction. You have to have some sort of compatibility. It's not even the color of the skin. It's the culture. When you get involved with somebody who has a totally different culture and upbringing than you, it makes that relationship very difficult because, you know, you're both at different levels. And I know they say that opposite attracts, and that could be true at some point, but, you know, it's a lot easier when 2 people are on the same page.
I mean, culturally different people aren't going to get along as well. You know, in-laws related to just things of like just the basics, you know. I mean, you find yourself having to compromise with people more so in like a different kind of a culture situation, you know, because I mean, with Mark, our culture is so compatible because he's Cuban, I'm Puerto Rican, and we joke around sometimes in Spanish. Sometimes we think in Spanish. So it's like there's different kinds of connection going on there.
And a lot of the upbringing was the same. Like, I think my mom and your dad are very much alike in the ways that they were about things. You know, it's just the way it is. So Martin says, April Shaw, I've seen black women who made me go, but I do believe in, and statistics show that people naturally choose their own race. I don't think it's racism. It just makes sense. And I think maybe we're meant because of the chromosomes and the DNA. And you know, it's like for reproduction purposes and things of that nature, I'm sure that, you know, we're meant to stay. And again, I'm sure that's got to be taken out of context because people always do take things out of context. But, you know, people need to start getting a brain and really learning how to have conversations without throwing the racist card out there or trying to judge what people say.
And I think it's beautiful. Interracial couples and stuff like that, marrying and everything. And there's some, I'm sure, very beautiful relationships. I was part of one at one point. But looking back at it now, I go, wow, there were a lot of things that weren't connecting. You know,
they weren't compatible
because the compatibility is not there.
Right.
So Renee says fuel was derived from hemp in the first automobiles, and it was outlawed as an example.
They've taken like new experiments and they've taken, oh, thank you, and they've just stored it because the petrol business makes a lot of money and they're going to milk it till they can't milk it anymore. Yes, Mark, culture, totally. Culture makes a damn difference, you know.
Todd says square.
The cotton industry also helped to outlaw hemp. Yeah, it's all messed up.
April says standards for sure, Mark. These need to be dealt with.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Ricky Delaney Jackson, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. She said it. Culture, yes. I've had two partners from different cultures. We were not compatible.
It makes a difference. You know, I mean, once that honeymoon state is over, you know, in the beginning when you're dating somebody and everything's like, ooh, baby. Yeah, and you're like thinking about them, but then when you live with them and then when you have to interact with them and then the stuff that you thought was cute is not cute anymore, it's actually annoying. And, you know, and it's just a lot of culture-based stuff, you know, that people do things a certain way in certain cultures that do it differently in others. Which is why Islamic women wouldn't date men who cross-dress because to them, that's a homosexual act punishable by death. But to us, it's just an act that's acceptable. Very true.
Todd says, I feel all clothing should be gender neutral.
That's right. Maybe like maybe that's what they're going to do. You know that movie 1984 where everybody wore the same type of, kind of like what Hillary wears, those pantsuit looking futuristic stuff.
I've never seen an actual white person, pink and brown mostly. That's true.
Interactional couples are as wonderful as anything. I have a partner I love luckily, but I would never say no. All about the attraction plus connection. Totally. There's got to be chemistry.
A lot of unions are astrological.
Yeah, that's true too. And Todd says, I came with big giant freckles all over the size of dimes. That's cool.
There are many beautiful souls who are leading the charge by attempting to redesign our society back into alignment with the natural laws of our universe. We should be one of them, regardless of which way we personally decide to contribute.
To do that, we all need to be super clear within ourselves that we believe in what we want to change. There are many ways to do it too. So finding our passion and strength is critical to playing our own small part in the shift.
It's simply no longer acceptable to keep our heads buried in the sand. Yep. Either we're a minion of the system or we're not. Of course, it's difficult to completely disconnect from the way resources flow through the control channels. Yet that needn't stop us from talking about it, sharing information online as we do here, and somehow contributing, no matter how small, to local and global movements which aim to transition humanity into the new paradigm of abundance.
After all, the truth is what it is, and it's exposing itself to the world by powerfully flowing through all of us. Ultimately, we needn't wait for the zombie apocalypse because it's already arrived. Most people are good people, yet the masses have been brainwashed into thinking in ways that are absolutely nowhere aligned to the truth.
They might be sleepwalking through a time where the tipping point for the conscious society builds, but that doesn't mean they're not salvageable. That's why we all have a responsibility to help facilitate waking up the collective so that together we're more empowered and informed to really bring about a future of justice, and honor that we can all be proud of.
To do so, let me give you some advice. Don't get frustrated. Don't be rude. Don't belittle. Don't condemn. We all had to wake up at one stage, so it's hypocritical if we are.
Instead, be calm, be cool, be real, be articulate. Know the information that you advocate like the back of your hand. If you want to be successful in helping others to face the delusions, then we need to ensure their defense mechanisms aren't raised, so they're more likely to be open and receptive to embrace the truth.
And one more thing, hang in there, guys, and be patient. We've still got a long, arduous way to go, but we know all the efforts will be worth every second. And that's, it's the name of the game, planting seeds, getting people to realize, and they themselves will realize that the world they're living in, this matrix that they've been part of, is all based on lies, that you're not defined by the article of clothing that you're wearing. So, you're not defined by anything other than what's inside your heart and that spirit that's within you. That's important. And on today's meditation moment, it's going to be about learning who you are, and not how you look like, what you're wearing, but who you are. What I often do is I look at myself in the mirror, but not my external. Like, I look deep into my eyes and really trying to get to know who I am. And in that manifestation, we're going to go deep today with that. So I found this article. There's a lot of people were asking, well, how did they transition from eating, an animal-based diet to a vegan-based diet? So the next article is called Transitioning to a Vegan Lifestyle. And let's read some of these before we get into these other.
Sue says, every male I've loved has been a Capricorn.
Cusp, Sagittarius. That means that they're in the cusp of both. And Renee says, Celine Dion has the clothing line all ready for kids. Yeah, that new product. I mean, that commercial flipped me out when I saw it for the first time. I'm like, they're getting bold. They're not even hiding it anymore.
Rick and Delaney Jackson says, well, tell them Muslim men to quit making and selling slave boys. Made devils here, or serpents, or dragons here to cut all ties. And then says, I better go? I'm not sure why she said that. I better go.
And AK puts the Scorpion, yes. And Who's Martin says, quick, September 11th information. As a training commercial pilot, an aviation lover, the plane that hit second doesn't match the detail of the plane given by its design. There might be some conspiracy. Well, there's a lot of movies, Loose Change. I mean, so many movies, which is the one that Moore made. And the one Moore made was very fluff, but there's a lot of really good movies out there that really show the true explanation. And that will come out. That's why they're trying to keep the people from talking about it, because it's in the process of some sort of investigation, and it will come out. Mark my words, in between 2 to 3 months, we will know the facts about what happened that day.
I was up at the book depository, where Dealey Plaza is over in Dallas, back in the early 90s. And I went up there, supposedly the window where Lee Harvey Oswald took the shot, right? Mm-hmm. And there was this tree that had been there, and it was there before. Mm-hmm. It was an old oak tree. The dude wouldn't have been able to shoot through that tree. I mean, if people would just kind of put 2 and 2 together, but they don't want that information to come out, that, that our own government may have been a part of destroying, they know the president.
The average individual are not smart enough to put 2 and 2 together, because they're sloppy. They're very sloppy in what they do. I mean, the Pentagon, there was not a sign of any wings, of anything, when it was like a missile.
Yeah, there's no way a plane could literally glide at that low level, coming from up above like that, to where it could be like this,
right,
and come right at the...
Yeah, there's a lot of loose ends. It's the same thing as the Bible. When you read the Bible and you start really connecting the dots, you're like, well, this doesn't make this sense. And when you really start going in depth in the Bible about this angry, jealous, murderous God, you got to go, would a father or a mother do that to their children? No, it's a psychopath. And we know that psychopath is Yahweh, which is Satan. You know, we know that there's no way that a father could bring birth to a child. We know it's a mother. That's how we believe that our spirit creator is a woman, you know? And yes, Father took what, you know, clay and created whatever we see before us. But the true creator, in my opinion, is loving, nurturing, and is female essence, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one of the things, Martin. He says snipers today, the best of the best, have tried to recreate Harvey Oswald's shots. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Plus, would have been seen before finishing.
Yeah.
I mean, I stood there and I looked out that window, the place where he was supposedly, and I saw that big tree. Yeah, and I was like,
there's no way.
How could they shoot?
Yeah, there's been so many documentaries done about that too.
Oh, yeah.
You know that. But people, it's like if it doesn't come out on the main news, they don't believe it, you know? And okay, so.
Martin says the pilots need to speak out.
They do. They do, totally.
And she said it says that not much surprises me these days.
No, I know. The good ones are in the sandbox, says AK. Hey, Phoenix, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Phoenix says, I have the film. It was a handheld rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Bush just did this. You'll find out why later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think no more than 3 months are going to go by where that's going to be revealed. That's
the Pentagon?
Everything about 911.
I don't know. They haven't said anything about JFK. So
no. Well, no, I'm talking about the 911 ordeal.
I know, but if they haven't said anything about JFK,
I think there are. There's a lot of documentaries.
I know, but there's nothing definitive, right? So April says,
I hear you, Ricky Delaney. I totally self-contradiction in many cultures. However, not sure you should be here if your intentions are based on vengeance. It's not healing, not helping anyone. Thank you, April. God, I love you, April.
I know.
And I love you too, Susan.
File M16. Haha, your government, funny men of letters.
Totally funny men.
JFK, oh, what I could tell you about him.
I'm sure. And Tracy says, Phoenix, I read it. Opening of the mouth. I know. Thank you. Opening of the mouth. And who's Martin? Go.
Says, put it like this. America gained a new building, the Freedom Tower, after 9/11, and a lot of people made money.
Oh, yeah.
So they care about 3,000 dead or die at pointless war, and that's okay with them.
And, you know, if people look at it, they took out some insurance. They had people have some sort of bomb drill or something. They had everybody get out of the building. There was stuff that was going on prior to the event taking place.
I was there back in, what was it, 1993. The original failed bombing of the World Trade Center was in April of 93. I was there in like June of 93. And they had security. And, you know, I went up to the World Tower restaurant up there at the top, and you know, I mean, I was in there, and you know, there's just no way it could have happened the way.
No, it's just crazy. Martin said 1 week before they had insurance taken out. We saw that. You know, I mean, I actually back in the day, because I did a lot of research, and I read that information. I was like, people aren't putting 2 and 2 together. So anyway. So you're decided that you like to become a vegan, right? Well, where do you start? That's usually the main question most people ask themselves. How do I do this?
Where do I go?
Yes, transition to a vegan lifestyle can seem really daunting, but often the idea of a big lifestyle change is a lot scarier than it actually is, or actually doing it. If you focus on making one change at a time, the progression to veganism will feel quite natural. It is important to go at your own pace and to decide on a method that works best for you. Here are some ideas and guidelines to structure your transition to veganism. Just be sure to tailor them to your specific needs. And I want to add, not just tailoring to your own specific need, but you have to make sure that you're getting the right nutrition, because there's nothing worse than a failed vegan, because then everybody starts to like badmouth the veganism lifestyle. And it's like, it's the best for your health. You just need to know how to do it properly.
And I would venture to say that it's not just only best for your health, but I mean, I really look forward to whatever you're like, oh, should we have this? Should we have that? And I'm like, you know, every time it's combined and we make it, it is always so
delicious.
good. You know, it's like, I can't understand how people think that this is anywhere near something that's hard to do.
Or a sacrifice of any sort.
Yeah,
It's
because
not.
I mean, the flavors are there. You get to eat more typically than just a little blunt, blunt, blunt on your plate. You know, it's not a burger, fry, Coke thing. I mean, you are actually satiated. You're actually tasting good quality, delicious food.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
But you need to learn as much as you can. And before you even begin the transition, the first step is to start familiarizing yourself with veganism. This will really help you out and help you feel prepared and knowledgeable as you begin changing your lifestyle.
Learn the benefits of a vegan lifestyle and educate yourself about the practices and costs behind the production of animal products. Find your own personal reason for being vegan. There's loads of them.
Learn how to optimally nourish your body on a plant-based diet. Start reading ingredients lists and learn how to tell if a product is vegan, and familiarize yourself with the less obvious animal-derived ingredients that show up in unsuspecting products.
Be on the lookout for vegan products at your local grocery store. Research vegan-friendly restaurants and grocery stores in your area. Read, watch, learn. Seek out vegan documentaries, books, magazines, websites, blogs, forums, and people. They can offer valuable insight, support, and will help you feel more confident in your transition.
Add to your diet before you subtract from it. Begin incorporating more whole grains, beans, legumes, nuts, seeds, and tofu into your diet. Familiarize yourself with their preparation, storage, and uses.
Start collecting and experimenting with vegan recipes that appeal to you.
Find a few different, quick, and easy vegan meals that you enjoy and get comfortable preparing them.
Switch out milk for a non-dairy alternative such as almond or soy or coconut milk as well. This is an easy switch for most people, but there's a lot of options, so experiment to find which one you like best.
Find and remember your motivation to change. There's a huge difference between adopting a vegan lifestyle and going on a diet. It's easy to be tempted into straying from diet plan or cheating, but it's not the same with veganism. When you know exactly why you want to be vegan, you simply don't stray from the lifestyle. That is why it is so important to learn the benefits of a vegan lifestyle and the effect animal products have on our health, environment, and humanity. Once you've taken the time to open your eyes to the real effects of animal products and what they do to our lives, it just sticks with you, and there's no going back on that.
And it's true, because one thing is dieting, but one thing is knowing that, okay, you don't want to eat suffering. You don't want to put stuff in your body that's going to make you unhealthy. You change your lifestyle completely. It's not just I'm going to get in a diet because I have a wedding to go to. I need to fit in the dress. No, this is your lifestyle. This is something that you're taking serious. It's for the environment, for the animals, and for you and your health. Keep a positive attitude. Do we need to read before we?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, let's get some of this.
So Phoenix says 13 Colony USA, and we staged Wounded Knee. This too you will find out later. Their soul-selling wishes are breaking down.
Wounded Knee was always Seuss to me.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Wounded Knee.
Yeah, we did.
And I was like at the top of that little hill, and they said that that's where Custer was his last stand. And it's like, how it just didn't really connect with me. You know, it just seemed.
And AK wrote something that I do not understand.
I don't either.
And Gail says, because of the oppression of women for so many years on Earth, after passing, there are plenty of fellow pissed off female spirits eager to sign you up and use their influence to destroy the men. I could, yeah.
Is it just another illusion from the afterlife?
Whose mind says Kevin Hart can't host Oscars now, even though movies that don't deserve to win end up winning based on race and gender. But Hart is now blacklisted and hates for a 10-year-old tweet. It's crazy. I mean, I don't understand this bullying, this BCBS that people have to live. If we have to lie and live in a world that we have to lie to people just to make them feel better, then we don't deserve to have a world. Because, you know, I'm not saying be mean to people, but, you know, truth is truth. And we have to stop this tiptoeing. I mean, this has just been the latest, 5 years that we've gone in this craziness.
So Phoenix says, Moses stole the documentation from the Pharaoh. Did he get it right? No. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, we were finding out was that what the mystery religions were those from the schools of Egypt. And who was the best, you know, to learn that and to translate that and to bring it into what you know now as Judeo-Christianity or the Jewish religion and or the Muslim religion, all the Abrahamic faiths. They have their basis inside the Egyptian mystery schools. Mm-hmm. And Moses just took what he had learned from as like a child growing up under the Pharaoh mm-hmm. and in the schools, and he just like kind of twisted them to make up this new, you know, thing that happened. So Abby asks,
how do you eat just one meal a day and get all the protein you need? Do we not need as much as we think? Abby, that's a very good question. And it's often asked, not just for the one meal a day, but anybody that goes plant-based. There hasn't been a single case of anyone dying from protein deficiency. We are carbon-based, not nitrogen-based, meaning that our bodies require carbs to sustain life more so than we do protein. You only really need anywhere between 20 to 30 grams of protein, and that's very easily gotten. Your body knows how to convert what it needs. It's not like, I mean, we've been taught as far as like dieting, well, you need this amount and this amount. Body doesn't work that way. Body takes from what you're putting in there, and it knows exactly what it has to do with that food. The food industry is not going to tell you that truth. The medical industry is not going to tell you that truth. Our meals are usually like 2,000. I mean, we pack it on there, you know, 2,000 calories or so. And, you know, I'm not at all like emaciated. I weigh 124 pounds and I'm 5'4". And you've been, I don't know, 150.
Yeah, like 150 pounds and I'm 5'11".
Yeah. So, and, you know, we feel good, energized, you know, I sleep well, you know, there's no, all my blood work has always come back spectacular. The doctors are like, well, I don't understand, you know, the food industry lies, you know, you really have to educate yourself and empower yourself and realize that your body knows exactly what it needs. As long as you're not eating Oreo cookies and Doritos and milkshakes and foods that don't belong in there, that's junk. If you put wholesome, good food inside of you, your body knows exactly what you need to do with it.
And isn't it true that a pound of broccoli has more protein than a pound of beef?
Yeah, and realize that beef, once it's cooked, you're killing it and you're not getting any really good protein. It's all based on numbers that absolutely mean nothing. Your body is not some sort of like computer where you're going, okay, we're going to put in this amount and that amount. You know, your body knows what it has to do.
So is the protein that is in meat, is that derived from the plant that they ate?
You're actually, the cow is eating the grass. So,
right. So is the protein in the grass?
Pretty much.
So
you're eating the middleman.
Basically eating the middleman.
Exactly.
So why bother eating the middleman when you can have the real deal?
The real deal. Yeah.
You know?
There's more protein in spinach than there is in a piece of chicken.
So if you're thinking about protein isn't all the same either though, because animal-based protein triggers cancer cells.
Of course,
whereas
because it's
protein
acidic.
That is plant-based
helps fight cancer cells.
Yeah. So, I mean, they should label protein differently. Mm-hmm. Plant-based protein should be called something else.
Yeah.
And regular protein should be called something else because it confuses people.
It does. It does. So Tracy says, yes, sacred practice is corrupted for profit and profit. Yes.
Profit,
totally.
Like money and profit.
Yeah.
Scripted.
We're being lied to for a reason because they want to make us sick. They want to, big pharma relies on big food to corrupt us so that they could give us a cure. They create the problem to then find the solution, which is always either taking away more of your liberties or feeding you more pills and things of that nature.
Abby Hayes, do you do what you think your body needs? I guess it works for the Cummings. Fasting is pretty popular.
Yeah, we do that intermittent fasting, which is, people think that you gain health by eating. No, you gain health by not eating, by allowing your body. I mean, you need some food because you've been trained. The body's been trained to do that in the times that we're living. But you benefit a lot more by autophagy, which means the body's going to break down all that excess toxin that you need. You don't need as much food as you think that made us believe that we do. I mean, there's more energy. Whenever we fasted, we've done like a 9-day water fast before, and the amount of energy that you feel after your 3-day that your digestion system shuts down.
We were walking like miles on day 5.
Yeah. And you feel so much better, then your body's like.
Your mind is clear.
Clear, everything. I mean, it's just great. So Scott says, is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
My transition to a more vegan diet has been a slow, natural process from practicality. Meat animal products are literally making me feel sick, and your body will start doing that because when you start to get awakened, your body then kind of like kicks you and says, okay, this is the next step. And you're kicking and screaming. You're like, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not. It ain't going to listen to you. It's going to like make you sick. It's going to make you doubt yourself. You're going to have fights with your own consciousness because your higher self is like going, oh yeah, buddy, it's time. Come on. You got this,
And then Phoenix says, Hindus say, you are eating a live plant. So why is this better than meat? You're killing them both. And you know what, Phoenix, the Hindus are right. I mean, with regards to, if we didn't have to eat, and we could feed ourselves as we were intended, not to subsist on food, then, our spirits don't need food.
No.
It's our dumb animal bodies that need food. So, maybe the Hindu have figured something out at a higher level of frequency where they don't, there's breatharians that
don't eat.
They don't eat at all. Right. So, you're eating a living plant, but a live plant is not a live like dog or a live cow, because a live plant is designed to reproduce and to, divide itself and to keep giving. Yeah. And when it goes into your body, a live plant is still alive.
Yeah,
it's still working.
Pooping it, like if we were out in the wild, like we used to, we pooped out in the wild, not in some toilet that goes flushing a bunch of gallons of water down the thing. We pooped, and what we ate fertilized the ground. So it was like a continual circle of life. We ate them, honored it, went back out, more plants got reproduced. So it was a continual system. It was a circle of life.
It's like, we are, what I understand is that our bodies are like an upside down plant or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So those nutrients are going into our gut flora and into our digestive tract, and they're doing their job. They're not really getting eaten, really, because the nutrients are actually still alive. Maybe they're not in the form of the apple anymore.
Right. But it's still the seed, the stuff that goes in there. Yeah. And there's live mechanisms inside, or organisms inside you. And you're supposed to have a healthy environment that continues to breed life inside of you. So, dead meat it's not alive at all. I mean, we eat sprouts that we buy. Those are live foods that continue to live within you. Because more organism, that dead piece of meat, it's a carcass, it putrefies. And it putrefies inside of you.
And then AK says, the Bible is made from the Book of the Dead of Akhenaten. Wow. So it's Egyptian. Right. The Bible is really from the Egyptian religion, So Abby says, I agree.
And Phoenix says, the Bible is written on children's hides. Go find the story on this.
I don't know where we'd find that story, Phoenix, but you tell us to go find stories, and it's like when I go buy a Kindle.
Yeah.
Book about it. Scott says, a very happy birthday to you, Lena. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your support, Scott. We appreciate you. Todd says, it's no wonder America is so stressed out. They're pumped full of stress hormones in the meat supply. Totally. If you guys watch Earthlings, if you watch Food Inc., I mean, there's a ton of movies out there that would just make you go off ever eating animal products again, by the way they're treated, by the way, you know, they're mistreated. I mean, it's horrible.
So,
Ave Sophia, I'm not quite sure what that is. Symbolisms, and she said,
Phoenix says, I love you two so much. Happy day for you, and I hope your dreams come true. Thank you. Thank you, Phoenix. Before Sophia.
And Ivy says, you both look very healthy. Thank you. We, you know, that's my physical, emotional, and spiritual health is all I live for. I don't care about anything else but that. And when I say I'm including Lynn in it, because I've tried to help her, you know, reach certain heights. I try not to push her because I know that she has to get there on her own, but I try to educate her because that's all we've got. You know, the flesh is going to get wrinkled and old. You know, it's like beauty fades, everything else fades. So what's important is our emotional, mental, and physical health so that we could, you know, be able to navigate this world while we're here.
She said, it says, wonder how viable breatharian actually is long-term, as in to old age and health. Well, you know, honestly, I personally think that there's something there that we've missed here in the West. You know, I think that there are secrets that Tibetans know, and, you know, these ancient cultures have an idea of where they're literally operating at a higher frequency of life here on Earth. You know, I mean, they're regularly encountering, you know, the ability to heal people. You know, I mean, they're experiencing different dimensions of reality in their bodies and stuff. I mean, when
the yogis are very good at doing that. I think they follow. There was this older man. I don't know if he was 70 or 90 years old. I can't remember his age. And they put him in the hospital and they observed him. He hadn't eaten in, he said, in God knows how many years. They didn't believe him, so they watched him. He saw that no food, nothing was coming in and out, and he was just as happy as could be, as healthy as could be. I mean, it's like when you learn how to use a different form of energy. It's like from going from petrol to wind or solar or something. You know, some different type of alternative.
Petrol word. That's a nice word. You got it from Britain.
Petrol.
Yeah,
it's oil.
I know.
Yeah,
it's like it's from your
petrol
time
in England, I guess.
Yeah, because gasoline,
gas, but it's petrol. It comes from.
It's the British word.
Yeah,
is using. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No, it's a good word. It's not wrong. It's just.
But it's my
Americans
point.
Don't say, "Are we going to fill the car with petrol today?" You know, they say gas. Right?
Gas, but the main substance of gas comes from petrol, oil or petrol. Well,
oil.
Anyway,
Americans call that oil. But that's all right.
But learning how to change your energy device or form of getting energy is what would allow you to become a breatharian. But there are many people, and if they do eat, they eat very minimal. It's like they do like a very small amount of something, or some of them don't even drink water. Some of them just do liquids. So
Abby says, I believe most likely the less you eat, the healthier you are and the longer you live.
Longevity centers that do that, they try to minimize people's caloric intake, but we're so programmed to believe, you need to get this amount of calories and you need to get this amount of protein, and that's the food industry and big pharma wants us to do that. But in reality is the less you eat, the less you age. When you're eating, your body is forming free radicals, and free radicals ages you and breaks everything down. Your cells get used up. Your cells have a lifetime. When it's like, okay, we've reached such point, cell dies. So the more you eat, the more cells you're killing. When you autophagy, you create new cells. Your body, it's in a very different state of well-being, Yeah, she said, you love food, but does your food love you? That's the question. We can't love that doesn't love us back, that is not going to provide us what we need and require in this world. And we just need to learn a new programming. And I know it's difficult, but it can be attained.
So Phoenix, I know you said that it fell in everything. Are you sure it's just a plant you're eating? I knew your answer as this, thanks. And then she says, I was hoping you would say I would pray for it. I don't know, but Mark and I are not believers in a God to pray to. So we don't believe in that at all. We don't believe in like invoking the blessing of some deity. You know, I mean, it's like I would rather just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I
you could bless your food.
traditional-
You could bless your food, or let's see what word instead of blessing. You could
Invoke
like invoke on your food, or
favor.
like talk to the food and say, you are going to heal me, or you are going to benefit me and invoke great health in me as you're eating it, just by enjoying it. I mean, the way we enjoy our meal, it's a production for us.
Well, it's like, you know, like I was reading about before, how, you know, these live foods, they sense stress, you know. So you have to speak to the food and say, you know, you are given, you know, sort of like what April in her culture, what they did with the buffalo, how they
they wouldn't throw anything away. They would use everything,
used every part, and they gave the animal that, you know,
when you have no other choice. But when you have a choice, you know, that wouldn't be something that
right. But we're talking about people in Canada.
But you know, it's like
North Dakota.
When we create our foods, it's a production. I mean, we create it and it's in a loving manner, and then we put it together, and it's beautiful, it's artistic, and it's like we have this relationship with our food, and the one meal a day. It's our highlight of our day, literally.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and it's like we know that it's like it's there to nourish us, and once we're done, then our body's gonna do with what it needs to do with that beautiful combination of fruits and vegetables and grains, nuts and seeds, and then we let the body do its thing.
Yep.
You know, and then till the next day. And April says, and she says a good point, Mark, reference live food. Oh, totally. And April says, I'm also vegan, and I know there are insects parts in much of the foods I eat. It's a fact. I'm sure that there's some, you know,
insect protein.
Yeah, that go. I mean, I usually try to check our foods for not eating any insects, but you know, I as long as you know the intentions, that you're not purposely harming any animals, that you're not buying from a corporate situation that they totally mistreat animals. I mean, you can't help if an ant escapes in your grain, and you know, I not intended.
Scott says, one of the most profound catalysts for my veganism was the realization of my dog Jake's consciousness / awareness / spirit.
They have all that. They have consciousness. They're loving. They feel. They have a family. Whenever a little calf gets removed from their mother, because milking cows need to be pregnant all the time in order to produce milk, so they have them perpetually be pregnant, and they remove their little baby, and they're very close to their babies. Mother cows and baby calves have a very extreme bonding moment, and they love each other. And they remove that cow cries, the little baby calf cries, and it's like they just destroy families, all so that people could drink excretions that don't belong in your body.
Renee says, fruit ripened on the tree falls to the ground ready to eat.
Exactly.
The seeds grow into more trees. Circle of life. Yeah. Our waste fertilizes the trees and the seeds again.
Exactly. It's a circle of life.
So it's not the same as killing some
animal,
living sentient
that
being.
Just destroyed its whole life and family, and they don't want to die. Who wants to die? You know, I would still give thanks.
Change the energy. Yeah. When you eat. Yes, Scott, my cat of 14 has been my teacher as well.
Yeah, they teach you a lot.
Giving thanks.
Giving thanks and love to your food, pre-eating, attitude of gratitude and oneness. And I don't think that one has to like specifically. I mean, I know that when we sit there, we're grateful. We just made this beautiful creation. We're like, wow, this is, it's like we enjoy it to a point that it's a relationship that you're having with, it's like, wow, this is really good. This is tasty. And, it's like you're appreciating, the benefit. It's not like how people just like swallow their food down and chew it, and they don't even know. Some people don't even chew. We enjoy that 1 hour that we have while we're eating. It's our it's our moment.
Yeah.
You know, we're feeding our system, and we know what we're putting in there, and everything is fit for the gods that we are.
Yeah.
You know.
And then she said it says in Australia it's petrol as well.
See, petrol. I know. I've heard. Yeah. Petrol.
Well, I know they.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The United States call it gas.
Yeah.
Oil.
April says, absolutely, Renee. Circle of life. All my relations. That is the true meaning of this saying.
Yes. Watch Chi Clinic in China. Huh. We saw a documentary with this guy who meditated a lot. He was from China, I think, and he was able, with his chi, was able to start fire, and he was able to emit electricity every time he would touch, somebody. It's like you had an electrical stim, and their hand or arm moved. So chi, when you meditate, you're able to harvest it and use it. Okay, so attitude. I don't know what that. Use attitude, gratitude. Go ahead, read Phoenix.
God of karma loves this thought process, just sharing. They killed the buffalo for other reasons. Not many know this reason. I'm sure there were many reasons.
I'm sure. And right, Mark, if you can grow it, it works all the better. That's right, April. And they didn't chase us because we wouldn't go on a rest. Why did they chase us? Don't know.
Cameron, what if we don't kill the animal, just eat one leg? Oh, gosh.
Okay.
That would be very cruel.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll step back into the dark and wait for the Son of God. Grand Canyon. Good night, all. Much love. Much love,
Phoenix. So keep a positive attitude. Think of all the new and delicious foods there are to try rather than thinking about the foods you've given up, which, that's things a lot of people, I can't ever have this again. It's like, look what you can have. You may find yourself surprised at how many options there are, really. Some of your favorite foods are probably vegan to begin with. There's loads of international dishes that are suitable for vegans. It can be so easy it is to veganize your old favorite meals and recipes. Don't worry about the changes you're making. Get excited about them.
Renee says, if people had to kill a cow to eat it, they wouldn't.
Of course not.
You realize it's murder, but if it's packaged in a nice, neat little plastic thing in the store, you mindlessly eat it.
It's true. Dantian, the energy is there below the navel. Tumo is also another form used in Tibet to melt snow. Definitely.
Begin planning your transition. This is where you need to seriously think about what is going to work best for you. There are plenty of ways to go vegan. You just have to find what's best for you. Here are some common options and some different ideas for each approach. Find something that appeals to you and tailor it to your needs.
Number 1, vegetarian followed by veganism. Go vegetarian, then move on to veganism, either one step or by cutting out dairy and eggs one at a time. Making the transition. Remove all meat from your diet, including fish and poultry. Take care not to increase your consumption of eggs and dairy to take the place of meat. Focus on including more plant-based protein sources instead.
I would highly recommend, getting an air fryer and learning how to use it, to make your vegan meals, because it's amazing. It's not just a matter of putting things in a salad bowl and eating a carrot or chewing on a piece of cucumber. I mean, the things that they think that vegans eat. It's I'm sure Renee would tell you that we eat so much better than that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's gourmet. Better. It's delicious. It's like every time you put a spoonful or a forkful of stuff in your mouth, it's like you have all these different flavors because it's combining all sorts of delicious. It's like today you cut up a mango and we put it in there with all the different types of leaf lettuces and kale and onions.
You baked up some, boiled up some potato slices and stuff of sweet potato and
regular potato.
Red potatoes, right? And then we just stuck it in the air fryer, put it on high.
With a little bit of seasoning,
Made it nice and crispy. I mean, it is the bomb, people. It's no oil. We'll take 2 or 3 corn tortillas, section them out, throw them in the air fryer, They cook, they get crispy. I mean, what's not to love?
And then we have barley. Let's see. It's just a slew of different flavors, and it's also good. Hey, Damien, big hug, guy.
Big hug.
Missed ya.
We do like garbanzo beans, and we put them in the air fryer.
Yeah.
And they get all crispy and they taste like corn nuts or something. It's
like today, I made from tomatoes and carrots and a whole bunch of different things. Made like a dressing with a little bit of stevia.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, that was good with cloves of garlic and you name it, and just pour that on top of the salad. I mean, most of the time we don't even make any salad dressing, but today, it's like, let's make a salad dressing today.
For my birthday.
Yeah. Thanks. And okay, so pay attention to ingredients list. Avoid products containing gelatin, rennet, and other animal products, excluding dairy and eggs.
If you haven't already begin incorporating more whole grains, beans, legumes, tofu, nuts, and seeds into your diet, along with hemp. Yeah, I mean, it's like so delicious. Once you feel comfortable, move forward. You can start phasing out dairy and eggs and honey. Feel free to do this all at once, one food group at a time, or slowly as you need to. Like we'll buy tofu, and I know maybe, tofu gets a bad rap, because people they don't know how to eat it or something. I don't know. But you can make tofu, like you said, into a tofu scramble. Yep. You take some turmeric and dye it. The turmeric makes things yellow, and then you add all sorts of seasoning. You scramble it up and put in it's like scrambled eggs. You could put it in a processor, and it'll make some sort of paste with all sorts of seasoning in it. And you could make a paste out of nutritional yeast. You can put in it and make it cheesy scrambled eggs or something. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things, and then I like to cut it up and divide them into little cubes and then put some seasoning on the tofu, because tofu by itself is okay, but you put some seasoning on it, stick it in the air fryer, crisps it up, stick it into your salads, add it. Yeah. And a big thing of tofu goes a long way. I mean, you can make 2 meals. It's not many calories either. No, not at all. It's got protein in it. Tumu, a goddess also. Sweet pea leaves are awesome. So Renee says, I eat once a day also and listen to what I'm craving. Also check out Krista Clark at Artistic Vegan for amazing vegan recipes. Yeah, I mean, I've looked at some of the stuff she does. Mark does amazing stuff too, but we just kind of we're just kind of on this kick of just basic. We're not looking to make some kind of a gourmet thing out of it. And it comes and looks gourmet. It does, but it's always the same thing. It's a big bowl with cooked food and with greens and stuff, but that's what works for us. Yeah. We're not into making it's all going to go. It's like, if you think about it, okay? No matter how pretty, no matter how whatever, once you start chewing it, it's all going to be the same thing. So, and it's just you taste it. It's all... doesn't have to look like a certain way or whatever, because it's all going to go down. You're going to chew it, and it's no longer going to be pretty. Yeah. Ask Lucid. Hi, Ask Lucid. Hey, thank you for joining us. I know it's not fresh per se, but what are your thoughts about the fruit and veggie drinks like the brands Naked or Bold House? LOL, can you tell I'm a bit pressed for time? I think, if you look at Naked is actually Coca-Cola. Yeah. And probably Bold House is probably Pepsi. Yeah. So you got to look at the ingredients in there, the amount of sugar they put in. Do they, it's better than having a Coke, and it's better than anything else. But when you say you're pressed for time, at nighttime before you go to bed, you have a blender, make your own stuff, put it in the refrigerator. You're ready to go for the next day, or it doesn't take long if you want it fresher. The first thing when you get up, just make it and do it. I know the time thing. I've been pressed for time before, but I always manage. To me, my health is important. And if I'll do without doing something else, and I rather have the time to prepare myself a nice meal, or when it's summertime, we make smoothies as well. And we just make it, with, we take the fruit, like the bananas, and freeze it. You take mangoes and you freeze it, and then you throw all that in there. So, we used to make homemade ice cream. Oh, yeah. Night too. Yeah. With all the frozen fruit and
plant-based protein powder and peanut butter. And, you know, it's just, I know that press for time is an issue, but we need to make time for ourselves. I mean, we're worth it, right? You know, you're worth taking the time to put something that's really going to be good for you, because it's pay now or pay later, you know?
Yeah, there's an article here about Naked Juice. It says, I used to love Naked Juice, as in I basically had one 15.5 ounce fluid ounce blue machine or red machine per day. This was until I realized that health juice I thought was filling me up from my 7:30 breakfast to my 12:30 p.m. lunch wasn't really a health juice. I decided to spend some time researching and found out my own question. Is Naked Juice healthy?
It's not.
I wouldn't call myself a health fiend at all. As a matter of fact, I'm usually someone who eats whatever I am in the mood for. And they said, you see these different, when you're drinking a Naked Juice, you frequently read the side of the container that displayed the different fruits that are in each bottle.
Right,
you know, it's like 1 apple, 3 grapes, 4 oranges, and how much fruit there was in each. Every time, all I saw were these astronomical numbers of how many full fruits were in each bottle. For example, the Power C machine has 1.5 full guavas. Crazy. After looking at these ingredient lists for several months, I decided to do more research to find out what else is in these juices and how this company is making any money, considering how much fresh juice, fresh fruit costs and the high volume of it that they're using. Well, my research taught me a lot, but mostly I learned that I should probably stop drinking Naked Juices, or at least stop drinking 15 ounces of them per day. Metabolically, Naked Juice contains the same exact number of grams of sugar that a can of Mountain Dew soda does. 61 grams.
That's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, although the sugar found in Naked is natural fructose, unlike the soda high fructose corn syrup, that's still a lot.
When consuming sugar in that high doses, you know, it's coming from, doesn't matter, your body doesn't care where it's coming from. It's a high amount of sugar, and it's, you know, it's really...
Both forms of sugar are turned into glucose, and then it's metabolized into the fatty acids.
See, the problem with that, number one thing, is lack of fiber, you know, because when you're doing something like that, like a juice, your body requires fiber so that you don't get that sugar spike. It's gonna then increase your insulin production. So, you know. So when you eat the fruit, when you juice a fruit, it loses all its fiber. So that makes it incredibly hard for your body to digest the sugars in the juice. It's too much of a spike.
So
eat the fruit.
Can't handle it.
Buy some oranges, buy some bananas, you know, have 2 or 3 bananas and a couple of apples, you know, learn how to properly combine your fruit, your sweet fruits with sweet fruits, your semi-acidic fruits with semi-acidic fruits. You know, you don't want to like have a banana and an orange, because your body's not going to at the same time.
I used to think that going to Jamba Juice was like going to be a healthy thing. So I'd order the big Jamba Juice, you know, not the big one, the regular. It was like $4 or $5 or something. And it was like 1,400 calories, you know, and they, would you like the boost in there? And then, give me the boost. And, you know, it's like, how much sugar was I consuming, thinking that it was like some healthy meal, you know? But I mean, these juices have 300 plus calories in them, you know? Let me finish, babe, because I'm still on this article. Now, for the main event, the Naked Juice lawsuit.
Wow.
They've been marketed as something that they weren't. From 2007 to 2013, the bottles that said that the contents were all natural, well, they're not very natural. It's not at all natural. Only the fruits and vegetables were natural.
And even then, you got to wonder where that fruit and vegetable is coming from, and, you know, how much of it, you know, is really fresh.
And Naked is owned by PepsiCo.
That's what you said.
Yeah, and they settled on a court case for $9 million. So yeah, Naked Juices are definitely not at all what they're hyped up to be. So I would stay away from them personally, because you could get so much more benefit from buying actual fruit, right?
Right.
Raw fruit.
But people think, you know how much of that was sold in Walmart? People
Oh my
just
God.
grab it like it was.
People think it's like
yeah, they think
super
they're doing,
nutritious.
Yeah, and it's not. It's loaded with sugar and loaded with all sorts of stuff. You know, you're better off making your own stuff. Let's see. So, okay. No. I want to fresh or say, okay, so Renee says, ask Lucid, they are help, convenience, and I still drink them here and there. Yeah, most people do because they think it's convenient. But like I said, just grab a couple of bananas and some nuts. I mean, right there, you're getting, you're getting fiber, you're getting what you need, or, couple of apples, and take a thing of romaine lettuce, and I love to just eat lettuce on its own like that.
Well, say like when you get your taste buds back, really, because you're basically kind of like living, if you're eating a regular, what is it? What do they call it? MAD diet?
The 1 meal a day.
No, not MAD. The typical American diet.
Oh, the SAD
diet. Then
standard American diet.
Standard American diet. So if you're doing that, then your taste buds are really not
messed up because they're dead,
functioning correctly.
If you're poor financially and want to transition to 1 meal a day, you can eat as much food as you like. For those who feel empty and are unsatisfied appetite, this is a great trick. Yeah. And 1 meal a day, I mean, clean up is easy. It's 1 meal a day. You don't have to buy as much. You fill up, because that's the name. When you feel full, automatically your body is like not going to crave anything. You're not going to be hungry. And you teach that maybe if you get a little hungry, your body learns how to ignore that, because you became so full that you're good. Your body doesn't have that, it's like that one insulin spike during the day, and that's it. It's done with. So, okay.
Let's figure out the
slow transition right here.
Number 2, the slow transition from omnivore to vegan. Slowly cut out animal products, starting with the easiest and leaving barrier foods to the end. Slowly lessen your consumption of animal products while simultaneously increasing the number of plant-based foods in your diet. Continue until you've eliminated all animal products from your diet.
Making the transition. Remove any animal products that you won't miss in your diet. If you haven't already incorporated more whole grains, beans, legumes, tofu, nuts, and seeds to your diet, while simultaneously cutting down the animal products, then you'll miss the least. You can gradually cut down on all animal products or remove one food group at a time. When I did it cold turkey. I was like throwing everything out.
I don't know what happened when we started. I think we just cut it out, right?
Yeah.
Because
I had to for you because I wanted to heal you. But I mean, when the first time that I went raw vegan, and I just me and Violet, my ex-wife, said, okay, we're doing this. We went, bought everything, did research, and we did it,
Stephen Crum says, I can't stop eating meat. I feel so guilty. Yes, that's a start, right? Stephen, it's really not about feeling guilty necessarily. It's just that sometimes you are really not the problem. I mean, the problem exists in your gut bacteria, which is pretty much kind of making you a slave of it. It's telling you what to eat. It wants.
The best way to do it, Stephen, if you're game for it, is to do a fast, do a 3-day water fast, or, a 7-day juice fast. I did it the way I did it. I went on the master cleanse for 14 days. And after that, your taste buds are cleaned and you just reintroduce plant-based, all your what do you call it, desires and things that you would have, what's the word I'm looking for, when you crave, all your cravings are gone, basically.
And what April said, right, through a higher motive might be to meditate on their suffering. And,
exactly.
That's one thing that we lose sight of, is that this isn't meat. This is an actual living, creature, sentient being, an earthling. And, I would highly recommend watching the movie Earthlings.
Yeah, or Food Inc. See how chickens are kept in the dirty conditions, and how they're, how they suffer. They break their legs because they make them so fat. so quickly because they want, more bang for their buck. And it's just the way they're treated. It's just, when you watch that, it's like you have a conscience and you're a spiritually awakened individual. How can you, after seeing what happens, how can you actually continue the same behavior? Your conscience kind of tells you, you know what, and there's no need. There's so many wonderful foods out there. Fill yourself up with grains and beans and, just whole grain breads.
Even as a little kid, I remember being in Puerto Rico over the Christmas holidays one year, and my cousins were all getting up in the morning because Grandpa was going to go kill the pig at the barn, and stuff. And that we were all invited to go see it, and I was like, I don't want to see an animal get murdered.
I mean, it's like some event.
And I heard it. I was still in bed and I heard it and I was like crying because I could hear this animal.
Right.
Like, I mean, it was squealing for fear.
I know. It's like,
it's really.
Hey, Becky, thank you for joining us. And she says she hasn't eaten meat in 2 days, but how does she stop craving chicken?
Realize what chickens are.
Yeah.
That they're actually not just meat. They're actually some type of being.
You're going to go through cravings.
Smarter than a dog or a cat.
You're going to go through cravings. The same thing when you quit smoking cigarettes, when you quit drinking coffee, anything that you stop, you're going to go through a detox period where you're going to have these cravings. That's when you have to really incorporate your will and realizing, why am I doing this? This is for my health. This is for the health of the planet. This is for the little sentient beings that I don't want to hurt anymore. 14 days, those cravings will be all gone and you'll be like, because it takes just about that time to create a new habit. It's all about habit. Drink a lot of water, fill yourself up with good whole foods, make yourself like smoothies and eat lots of fruit and nuts and seeds and things that'll fill you up and make you feel satisfied.
And then, like oatmeal, my gosh.
Oh, that stuff fills you up.
Filling oatmeal is. And you don't have to be boring with oatmeal.
Oh, we make
a basically a dessert oatmeal. It's
Do you have any pictures in your Facebook? Or is it in your Instagram?
I do have pictures in Facebook.
Let me see here. Trying to find. Our oatmeals are just. It's an event.
April says it's like industrialized slaughter.
Yeah, it is. It's horrible. Once you watch some of those documentaries, it's just you can. It's like, why would I want to put that in my system?
Steven said, what about turpentine? I see a lot about getting parasites out like that.
Diatomaceous earth is really good. Oil of oregano is awesome for killing parasites. And once you start getting rid of those guys, the cravings start to go away. Here we go. Let me see here.
He said,
it's a small pick. Oh, here. This is a good one.
He said, oh my God, Frito-Lay dead babies made me totally stop.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, this is our oatmeal here.
Look at that yumminess. Yeah. That is just coconut flakes. We got
blackberries, blueberries, bananas,
carob chips, but chocolate.
Yeah.
Granola.
You name it. It's a bowl of goodness. Let me see what else we got here. That's like one of our salad plates with.
Those are like sesame sticks flavored.
Yeah.
And the sunflower sprouts, and we have like vegan cheese on there. And
is that? Yeah, it's on there. Okay.
Vegan cheese on there.
Yeah, it's like.
Yum. Oh,
there's another.
Yum.
Yeah, it's like a huge bowl. The picture doesn't do it justice. Here's another thing, a bowl of oatmeal. After you're done eating those two things with the whole grain bread and you're like oh
good.
Man,
it's so good. It's ridiculous.
And then you're not hungry till the next day, so it's time to eat again.
You're not. So April says, I would suggest finding someone who has done it as well as research. My understanding is there is some validity for this, but it's more to do with Candida. Stephen Crama's suggestion.
Yeah, I'm a certified nutrition consultant, so I've taken a lot of clients online over the phone, and I walk people through it if if people need guidance. I have people journal. I have people because sometimes you're going to get die-offs and you're going to get detox can create certain things, and you have to know exactly what to do. But know that you're getting from point A to point B, and you're actually helping yourself, and you have to know what you're doing. But this article has a lot of really good information. Remove barrier foods after you feel comfortable with all the other changes in your diet. Pay attention to ingredient lists. You may find it easier to begin avoiding the less obvious animal-derived ingredients one at a time. You can also choose to overlook them until you've removed all obvious animal products such as meat, seafood, dairy product, eggs from your diet, and you feel comfortable eating mostly plant-based food.
Number 3, go full on vegan. Cut out all animal-derived ingredients and incorporate lots of whole grains, beans, legumes, tofu, nuts, seeds for a healthy vegan diet. Swap out all of your favorite non-vegan items for vegan alternatives, and there are so many yummy ones. Many people find that relying on vegan burgers, hot dogs, deli slices, cheeses, etc. can really help ease the transition when cutting out animal products all at once.
I think someone needs to take care of Cameron Boyd.
Well, I mean, he's being a jokester, but I don't think he.
Well, I mean, just that's very, to me, it's not funny. Making the transition. If you want to drive right in, feel free. Jump into veganism straight away. That's what I did. You'll want to continue educating yourself so that you are prepared. You are as prepared as possible.
So I add bananas. So we add bananas.
You saw everything: banana, blueberry.
Yeah, bananas are in there.
Dates, coconut flakes, apples.
We've got
a slew of things.
What do we have? We have pears in there right now.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
because we try when we go to the co-op, we try to buy what's in season, and what's in season is usually cheaper. So we try to, eat.
No, I'm sorry. Fish is not okay.
No.
Fish are also sentient beings.
Yeah.
Fish actually swim around in schools with their other fish families.
And they have anything with a face, anything that feels, anything that has a heartbeat, no tocar.
Right, exactly. Candida, Candida is a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. But if you eat right and you combine your food correctly, I mean, you need some amounts of candidas in your body. It's trying to create the balance between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. And, it's a fungus that your body produces. You can't wipe it out completely. You need some of it. Is knowing how to keep it in check. That's the name of the game. And, if you do have a candida problem, then you need to take care of that. We did a show that we talked about how to do a vegan candida cleanse. I think it was a few shows back.
Yeah.
So you could watch that.
Fish is not vegan.
No.
It's true.
Fish is carnivore. So right here.
Oh, Becky says, have no upper teeth due to drug use. Can't eat nuts and such. Have to get softer food.
Then get a food processor and process it, and it'll be like powdery. And you could put it on top of your oatmeal. That's really yummy like that.
Yeah, you could do nuts that way too.
Yeah.
I mean, you could grind those things
in
up.
a bullet, and grind it up and put it on top of your thingy, or make a shake. Put peanut butter, and it's all good.
But we grind up flaxseed. I mean, we don't eat it whole.
No, we ground it.
And we buy you could do the same thing with any kind of
wheat
nut.
germ. We buy raw wheat germ.
You could do any kind of nut and grind it up in a coffee grinder.
Or a food processor,
Yeah.
Or a bullet.
Some people find relying on vegan alternatives and convenience foods very helpful in easing the transition to veganism. They are often high in protein, fortified with lots of vitamins and minerals, quick and easy to prepare, delicious and familiar. However, some veggie burgers, veggie dogs, vegan deli slices are highly processed.
I wouldn't eat those, Once you begin to feel comfortable with your vegan lifestyle and use these products can be lessened. But at first, because you know how the human mind is, you always feel like you have to be rewarded and I can only do this a step at a time. So until you transition fully, just put things in there so you don't feel like you're missing out, because that's the mind, that's the child mind telling you you're missing out. You're not missing out. You're eating better things, and you just got to slowly integrate the good things and remove the stuff that doesn't belong in there. There's nothing wrong with eating the products in moderation, but they shouldn't be used as your main source of vitamin, minerals, and proteins for long term.
Veganism is much more than a diet. It is a compassionate lifestyle. These guidelines are mostly for transitioning to a vegan diet, as that tends to be the most difficult part of becoming a vegan. It's also important to learn about vegan alternatives for other products in your life, such as personal care items, clothing, shoes, and other household items like, leather jackets and leather, wallets and purses and, those kinds of things.
And it doesn't mean you're going to go throw out all your stuff, but know that next time you buy something, to make it more plant-based or more vegan-friendly type of thing. But, all or nothing thinking and food barriers to veganism. If you have the desire to become a vegan but find yourself struggling with the idea of craving or giving up a particular food, don't worry. That's completely normal. These are challenges, but there certainly don't have to be barriers. Most vegans stop eating animal products for ethical reasons, not because they don't enjoy the taste of them. It might sound silly, but there's a lot of cheese-loving vegans out there. If cheese is your barrier food, read on. And there's like so many vegan cheeses. We buy one called, I forget now. Daya. We tried the yellow. I like the white better. But
I like them both. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, like I said, it gets in the bowl. It's good.
Yeah. And it tastes, and then we have the Parmesan cheese that's not made out of, it's made out of soy. It tastes just like Parmesan cheese. It smells like it too. You know how Parmesan cheese is. It's like, wow, how do they do this?
Steven says, I think my higher self brought me here tonight because I've been feeling such a strong pull to purify since my vision. The Father told me to live a natural life. Such a simple but profound statement.
It is. And thank you for joining us. And I'm glad that we have been able to be of service. It's important. It's important to cleanse ourselves out completely. And at the end of the show, I have a meditation moment that I'm going to talk about getting rid of certain things. And I'm hoping that that'll help empower you even further, Steve.
And Steve, actually, I just want to encourage you because it's not your fault. I mean, you've been brought up in a system that has taught you what you should and shouldn't eat and how you should and shouldn't do things. And you have a body that has been accustomed to those types of parasites and bacteria that are in there. And it's, there's no judgment for these things, but as we become aware, as we become awakened to the realities that, we are connected to the planet, we're connected to the animals, we're connected to everything around us. Everything around us is a part of us. So, you look at an innocent cow's eyes and stuff, you could just see the breath of life in there. You could see a living, sentient, breathing being in there.
Right. Totally.
And, I just think it's very important for us to get to that place where we can actually see that,
And Carmen says that we only need the amino acids and plants have plenty. That's right. I mean, people, they think they need all this amount of protein and you really don't. And a plant-based diet has more than sufficient amount of protein as long as you're eating a good balanced diet with all the different fruits and vegetables and legumes and nuts and seeds and, the grains. I mean, we showed you what the bowls that we create and it's like, it's fulfilling. I mean, I feel more nutritionally sound with this one meal a day, eating all this stuff than when we used to eat, 3 times a day.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for me, if I could do it, anyone can. Oh, gosh. Because I would stop at McDonald's after work and it'd be like midnight and I'd get nuggets and fries and a Coke. And, It's crazy.
We used to be like big time night eaters at one point, and now it's like we eat our meal between 1:30 and 2, and that's it. We don't eat. I mean, I don't even think about food.
No, because it's not a part of our.
Yeah, it's like at nighttime when people get all these. There's not even a thought process ever.
There's not even a craving.
No, nothing whatsoever. So a girl with no name, Spooner, says, my son's wife is vegan. Maybe I should speak with her and get some advice. Well, we talk about it every day. We have a vegan section. So if you have any question for us, we'd be more than happy to answer them for you, Becky. And Carmen says, okay, I already read that. And Steven says,
these people are on point. All truth must be revealed, and that truth is in your vibe.
Thank you.
Thank you. And she said faux leather looks the same.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's cheaper. Bill says, stopping in to say hi, everyone. I've been busy with new grandbaby stuff. Love you all. Love you too, Bill. Enjoy your grandkids. Or grandbaby or grandkid. What plans? I live in Washington.
I don't know. I mean,
what kind of
whatever's native to your...
do a variety of greens. You got dark greens, sweeter greens. You know, we like romaine. What is it? Purple leaf lettuce. We do kale. We do what's that one that we recently bought that has the purple stem? The name chard is very good as well. We do broccoli, cauliflower. We do carrots. You know, we do sprouts of all kinds. I mean, just all the different greens. Mix it all together. It gives you volume, and then we cook the grains or whatever it is, and then we put it on top of the salad, and then we add fruit to that, and we add onions, tomatoes, peppers.
It's so good. So good.
Garlic, raw garlic, lots of it. Ginger, raw onions. I mean, it's just.
So Carmen says, when you eat the middleman, our bodies have to rearrange the amino acids chains in order for our body to absorb it.
Totally.
And then Luxmea Christus 1, hi there,
hey, thank you for
says,
joining.
Vegetarian, yes. Vegan, no. Our body needs fat from dairy.
Incorrect.
The brain is 40% plus fat. We need a balanced level of fat for brain function. Shrinking or lack of fat equals dementia and Alzheimer's.
That is all false. And I'll tell you.
That's coming from the meat industry.
Yeah, I'm a certified nutrition consultant. I have done plenty of study. I've worked with Alzheimer patients. That's the keto, what is it, that guy who died, Dr. Atkins, narrative. That has been proven false. There's a lot of new research on that. Your body needs glucose to function. The kind of fat that you need comes from nuts and seeds. I don't even recommend oils. And we did an article on that a while back. Look into Dr. McDougall. Look into Dr. Douglas Graham. You will learn a lot more things. All that you're saying, that has been proven false. You do not need dairy. On the contrary, who's going to eat mammillary secretion from another animal? That's meant for the calf.
No one does that other than us.
Yeah, that's meant for the calf. That's not meant for humans. Humans drink mother's breast milk till a certain age, and that's it. We are the only species that drink another species' milk. It is wrong. It causes mucus. It causes cancers. It causes all sorts of things. So that's just the dairy industry polluting the minds of human and wanting you to get sick. So that's totally false. Looks.
40%. Our brain is 40% plus fat.
Your brain needs glucose. You need a very small amount. Actually, Dr. Graham only allows, it's an 80-10-10 diet. 10% of that should be fat. So your body doesn't require that amount of fat. And you could get it from nuts and seeds. Avocados. Avocado has a lot of great fat in it. A tablespoon of coconut oil a day. If you're going to do any oil, that's the only oil that I highly recommend. And like I said, I'm a certified nutrition consultant. I've had my own rehab workout studio for over 11 plus years. I've worked with clients all over the world. I know my stuff. And that you're toting there all comes from the dairy industry, who's lying, just as the pharmaceutical companies lie to you about vaccines. That is also a lie.
Let me just let you make your own decision on what you believe health to look like. Because when Dr. Atkins died, he was grossly overweight.
Yeah.
And I think he was just walking in Central Park.
Yeah.
And he keeled over.
Yeah.
And this man was obese.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the man who was basically the one who came up with the Atkins diet. And then after that, you know, the whole keto diet has taken off as well as like the revamped Atkins 2.0 diet. But then contrast that with Dr. John McDougall. Look at him. Look at the body that he has. Look at the type of life that he's living now in his 70s, I believe. And the man is in great shape. He and his wife are vegans, and they eat lots of carbs. They have lots of oatmeal and grains in their diet. And that should tell you exactly what is going on, you know, because with Dr. Atkins, you know, the proof was not in the pudding. With Dr. McDougall, well, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Dr. Atkins passed away like 10 years ago or something.
Right.
So,
and here's an article by Dr. Mark Hyman. Milk doesn't reduce fracture because most people think, you know, drinking milk is going to help give you relief from osteoporosis. Contrary to popular belief, eating dairy products has never been shown to reduce fracture risk. In fact, according to the Nurses' Health Study, dairy may increase risk of fracture by 50%. Less dairy means better bones. Countries with lowest rates on dairy and calcium consumption, like those in Africa and Asia, have the lowest rate of osteoporosis. Calcium isn't as bone protective as we thought. Studies of calcium supplementation have shown no benefits in reducing fracture risk. Vitamin D appears to be much more important than calcium. Calcium may raise cancer risk. Calcium has benefit from that dairy doesn't. Calcium supplements, but not dairy products, may reduce the risk of colon cancer. Not everyone can stomach dairy. And it goes on and on. I could either put the this on the description area so you could read some more, but do your homework. I certainly have. And like I said, I've been in the business for many, many years, and I'm constantly learning and searching because I do have clients online, and I'm always trying to, you know, do stuff, you know, ahead of the game. And, it says here, advocating for dairy has negative effects on health. It also isn't enough to swear you off milk. There are a few other scientific findings worth noting. The Federal Trade Commission recently asked the UDSA to look into scientific basis of the claims made by the milk mustache ad. Milk doesn't benefit sport for performance. There's no evidence that dairy is good for your bones or prevents osteoporosis. Dairy is linked to prostate cancer, is full of saturated fat, and is linked to heart disease. Dairy causes digestive problems for the 75% of people with lactose intolerance. Dairy aggravates irritable bowel. Due to these concerns, may have begun to consider raw milk an alternative, but that isn't really a healthy form of dairy either. And it goes on and on and on and on. So, I mean, I'll put this.
Scrub says, I just ate some peanut butter cookies. Of course, that could be the weed causing that. The cookie because he got high. What? That's funny. April says, wait, Luxman, Krista says, cholesterol-based brain mass doesn't need brain-killing statins. You just need nutritional self-control and to educate yourselves to listen to your body.
Okay, I just put the link there.
Cholesterol, did you read this?
No, I was putting the link on the thing here.
I just said cholesterol-based brain mass does not need brain-killing statins. You just need nutritional self-control and to educate yourselves to listening to your body.
The whole cholesterol thing, you know, again, the whole medical community has basically lied, as everything that we have experienced in our life, that everything is a lie. I went ahead and I put the link in there for you, and there's a lot of great information out there regarding how bad, you know, dairy actually is. I mean, it's like one of those foods that people should never eat. If you know what went into milk and how they treat those cows and the amount of antibiotics they have to feed them because they get pus, they allow X amount of pus within a small amount of milk because the cow's always getting all sorts of infection. You're drinking a substance that is made to make a little calf into a big cow in a short period of time. That stuff is horrible for you.
So, Girl with No Name Swooner says, where may I find vegan info from y'all? Is there a blog site?
I have a blog. I've got to, it's called Life Transition, that I put sometimes recipes. I sometimes write stuff in there. I'll add it to my description area. Okay, so let's see here.
Steven says, I need to be chained up in a dark room for a couple of weeks so I can let go of all this conditioning. LOL. Anybody got a cellar I can borrow?
It's just, you know, like this article is saying, one step at a time, put your intentions, watch a couple of really horrifying documentaries that'll help you really get your heart in the right space. And once your mind's made up about something, that you have it's like a mission, you put yourself on a mission, then it becomes a lot easier, you know?
Really, it says, it's my first grandchild, Mark and Lena.
Wow.
I just linked up with your Discord. Posted some pictures on GW and
All
BDP.
right.
I will post some on yours.
Love to see that.
Awesome, Bill.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
That is such a wonderful journey to be on. You know, I mean, when you have grandkids, it's going to be much different than having your own.
Of course.
Because you can spoil them.
Yeah.
And then just like,
well, it's knowing that that's part of you, that you created that generation. It's like a seed that you planted that has blossomed and has bloomed, and it is an amazing thing. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Girl with No Name Spooner says,
milk and dairy is mucus forming material, in my opinion, totally. And it just has, did the link that I put on there not go on there?
Well, I'm not down there.
It really has a lot of negative. There's no positive. We're not cows. Why would somebody drink? I mean, it's like feeding your milk to another animal. It doesn't have your specific needs. And the industry wants to make you believe that, just like Big Pharma wants to make you believe that you need certain vaccines and you need certain pills. And we're natural beings. We're not meant to put anything that does not belong in our body. You know, we're being so brainwashed.
Gigi says, I love y'all even more now, knowing you're vegan. It's been 3 years for me.
I started mine in 2008. That was my vegan beginnings.
Luxma Christus says, thank you for your enlightenment. I don't eat red meat. I only use butter from dairy and olive and nut oils and cocoa solids. Dairy increases osteoporosis. I use a lot of coconut milk and almond.
Yeah, I love coconut milk.
Great dairy coverage.
Thank you.
That's great. That's great.
I've been weaning off red meat. I will try to get off poultry too, but I'm giving up fish and
not
giving up. Well, a little bit at a time, but eventually, you know, your spirit will tell you that what's next. You got to follow what's inside of you.
Being a grandparent is the best. And Luxmac says, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And Steven says, higher consciousness promotes greater control, right?
Exactly. It's like when I quit drinking, it was just like it was one day to the next, I didn't want to anymore. The more spiritually evolved you become, the more your higher self kind of guides you what you need and what you don't need. And it kind of like tells you, I don't need this anymore, or I don't want this anymore.
April says, I hope you don't mind. This man cured himself from 4th stage cancer. Mark and Lena and all. YouTube. Incredible story.
Definitely watch it. Definitely.
Yeah, believe it.
Yeah.
Stephen asks.
Almond milk is good, right? Totally. I prefer coconut milk, but almond milk is really good. There's a combination of one that I used to love to buy, almond and coconut together.
Yeah.
It's got a really good flavor to it.
Coconut milk's great in coffee, too.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
Far too often, people shrug off the idea of veganism for the fear of missing a particular food, or they try veganism but they end up giving up on it in its entirety for similar reasons. This is often the result of jumping into veganism too quickly with too little preparation. That's why it is so important to take the transition at a pace that works for you so that it is sustainable.
No cockroach milk, Bill. That's gross. There's a couple of methods. Oh, no.
That's too much protein.
Yeah. There's a couple of methods that are extremely effective at dealing with these barrier foods. Learn the production practices of your barrier food. Learn the ins and outs, how the particular food is produced. This is often enough to turn you off the food for good. And that's why I always say, watch documentaries. And when you know what's that one? What the heck? There's
what the health?
What the health. There's just so many. And what I'll do is I'll look for some of the documentaries and put the links in the description here. Cut out all berry foods completely and wait for the cravings to subside. Cut out all berry food at once. Most people find that craving for these foods only lasts a few short weeks and then they subside. Like I said, 2 weeks is usually what it takes.
Try slowly introducing vegan alternatives to some of your favorite foods. For some items in particular, such as cheese and yogurt, you may want to give it a few more weeks before experimenting with substitutions. Many people find that the longer it's been since they've had the real thing, the easier it is for a vegan substitution to satisfy their craving.
I found this to be very true for vegan cheese. As a new vegan, non-dairy cheese didn't do much for me, but after a few months of having little bits here and there, the flavor of diet really began to grow on me. Now I find it does a great job at satisfying cheese cravings. And it melts really good too when you melt it.
It does. And, you know, one of the things that I was just going to recommend to you, Bill, is, you know, there are so many great alternatives now for cheese. I mean, I know you love your cheese, and I used to love my cheese too, but wow, it's amazing. You know, cheese is one of the most addicting foods out there.
And how it's made and what it has in it, the majority, it's just not, you know, and like I said, vegan cheese, it melts, it tastes just like cheese. It's,
yeah.
You know,
I mean, they're making it better and better every
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just amazing what you can get.
Yeah.
You know, you'll also have to find which products you like the most and learning how to prepare them to your liking through a little bit of trial and error.
Leave berry foods to the end of your transition. If the idea of becoming vegan appeals to you, but you feel like you miss a certain food too much to commit 100% a vegan lifestyle, then start the transition and leave the food until the end. Face your berry foods out very slowly, controlled manner over a few weeks or over a few months. By this point, you might find that removing the food from your diet is a lot easier than you think it would be.
You know, and that's the thing, you know, Gigi just said chow cheese is the best. We've had some good experience with chow cheese.
Yeah.
But the problem is a lot of times it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it could be a bit more inexpensive.
We've been getting the diet because it's got like $1 off coupon that we've been getting.
But knowing that, you know, the subsidies that the government provides for the dairy industry allows them to sell their products at a much lower cost and doesn't give subsidies to vegan cheese producers.
No, because they don't want that to happen, you know.
So if for whatever reason you feel as though you just cannot commit to a 100% vegan diet because of a barrier food, that's okay. Don't let that stop you from minimizing your intake of animal-based products to whatever extent you can. Give up all the animal ingredients and foods that you won't miss and allow yourself the occasional exception, whether it's a food or a holiday meal or a favorite restaurant.
I advocate following a fully vegan diet, and I encourage you to strive towards that as a goal. But it's just silly to abandon veganism, and it's entirely because you love bacon or cheese too much. There's even vegan bacon. Don't let yourself get caught up in trying to label yourself based on your diet. This is sort of all or nothing thinking that's simply not constructive. If allowing a little flexibility is what will help you sustain a mostly vegan lifestyle, then that's exactly what you should do. This also serves to make the vegan lifestyle a lot less daunting and more approachable to others. And as your spiritual elevation gets there, and as you continue to grow, you know, as an individual, as you start to see that, you know, you want to be 100% the best you possible, health-wise, emotional-wise, spiritual-wise, this will be the path that you will definitely, your own higher self will guide you there.
You know, when it comes down to it, we are such kids when it comes to textures and the flavors and stuff like that. We still have that oral sensation that we have from our childhood. And one of the biggest draws for eating meat is that texture, you know, the taste of it in your mouth, chewing it, you know. So when you could substitute a plant-based derivative for the same exact type of experience in your mouth, you know, and season it according to what you would have seasoned a piece of meat to,
Yeah.
You know, it is amazing what you can enjoy.
There's flavoring, also like smoke flavor. Like you take tofu and make it into bacon flavor. You cut it into little strips. You put the little seasoning, and it gives it the color. And you just like grill it on the thing.
If you wanted like pork sandwiches, barbecue pork sandwich, you could make that out of a plant-based protein. Krista Clark on her website shows all kinds of different recipes for making amazing substitutions that are really good meals.
Doing weird things here. Is it back to normal? Okay.
Yeah, sort of.
No. Yep. Let me see here. Are we breaking up, guys? Let me bring it down again. Bring it down this way.
So April says ground almonds are very close to the same texture as cheese. Test to the nutritional aspects. Whomever asked about cheese. And Steven says, thank you for helping me get back on track again. I fell off because of the people I've been hanging out with. And she said it said, vegan bacon? No, for me, I tried it. And you know what? You can try it one time. It's not going to be that great. But then, wait a couple of years, and then these manufacturers coming up with great alternatives and stuff. April says unhealthy diets create unhealthy cravings because we're missing out on what we need. Yeah. Bill H says, I saw a recipe for vegan pulled pork made from jackfruit. People said that didn't tell the difference. And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You can just
substitute
because it's not really, it's like we've been saying over and over and over, it's not really the taste of the beef. It's not really the taste of pork. It's not really the taste of chicken. It's how you season it that makes it taste good.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. We're getting gremlins again. We were doing so good, and it's like also now. But let's see how it goes. All right. So we got the manifestation meditation moment. Hopefully it does come out okay. It's important to connect to your higher self. It's important to have the intentions that you need to get to where it is that you're going. We have to remember that this reality has been created to everything in it has been meant to hurt you and to incarcerate you, to make you hate yourself, to make you do things that are not within your higher self, acting in our lower levels, and we feel entitled. I want us to release what is not serving us today. Let's take this time to do an inventory of our feelings, to include regrets, guilt, unattended emotions that we have placed on a back burner. Because we're good at that. We're good at not dealing with a situation, justifying what we do, making ourselves feel like a victim. We do that very well. We don't even think about what we do. We just kind of do it. So I want us to take this time to totally go inward, and let's do an inventory of all the feelings that have weighed us down, from all the regrets, all the frustrations, all the guilt, all the stuff that we swept under the rug. I want us to really put emphasis and focus on that. Go within that feeling. Feel all these guilt feelings, all this regret feelings, all the stuff that we've just kind of stashed away. I want you to bring it up. I want you to face it right now. We need to learn how to decipher these feelings. Understand them in order to progress with our awakening. Because although many of us believe we are awakened, Are we really? How can we be awake when we're still allowing the material world to control our lives? You can't have one foot in each world. It doesn't work that way. You've got to understand, what is it that's weighing you down, that's keeping you asleep, that's keeping you halfway in and halfway out? Why is it that you are allowing yourselves to be controlled by substance, by food, by any kind of addiction that's keeping us in this matrix? Who's stopping you but you? And I know you won't be able to do this inventory completely during this time that we are together, but I want you to take that feeling, and once you have time tonight, I want you, before you go to sleep, to really think about these feelings. Why are you still holding on to it? How does it serve you? How is that going to make your awakening and your future eternal life any better? Because that's what we got to think about. It's not the moment right now, but it's, how am I going to be able to enter where I need to enter in my eternal life with all of this baggage? That's why we're here, to get rid of it. That's why we're being faced with all these things. We can't let fear and the unknowing cultivate a space in our journey of self-discovery. Because that's what this is a journey of self-discovery. Many are still in denial of who they are, who they serve, and whom they wish to become. I want you to take this time to go deep within. Find out who you are, not just your physical self, not the getup that you wear or how you present yourself into the world or what you want people to see, but your true self. Not just your physical self or what you have been programmed to believe, but who your soul really is. Repeat after me. I am love.
I am love.
I am divine.
I am divine.
I nurture the inner child.
I nurture the inner child.
I am giving me permission to reveal myself to myself.
I am giving me permission to reveal myself to myself.
I cannot escape my awakening.
I cannot escape my awakening.
There is nothing or anyone that can stop what will take place.
There is nothing or anyone that can stop what will take place.
I am free from all the bondages.
I am free of all the bondages
that I have placed upon myself. I am humbled by my life choices.
I am humbled by my life choices
that have brought me to where I am today. No more obstacles.
No more obstacles.
No more excuses.
No more excuses.
And no more interferences. I am ready.
I am ready.
In the here and now.
In the here and now.
I will listen to my inner voice.
I will listen to my inner voice.
He is speaking to me now.
He is speaking to me now.
I am humbled.
I am humbled.
And I am grateful for the opportunity.
And I am grateful for the opportunity.
To open up the gateway.
To open up the gateway.
Of my truth and discernment.
To my truth and discernment.
I will make it my mission.
I will make it my mission.
To take time every day.
To take time every day.
To listen to my inner voice and calling.
To listen to my inner voice and calling.
Nothing will stop me from achieving this.
Nothing will stop me from achieving this.
I am what I am and meant to achieve.
I am what I am and meant to achieve.
From this day forward,
From this day forward,
I grant the permission
I grant the permission
to be free,
to be free,
be in tune,
to be in tune,
be aware and awake.
be aware and awake.
I promise to learn who I am.
And I promise to learn who I am.
Folks, it's not that difficult. I know it appears to be. We have been tainted, programmed, traumatized from the moment we came out of our mother's womb. But the right is yours. You have the right to be happy, to be free, to learn who you are, who you truly are. It's whatever it takes, folks. Get in front of a mirror. If you have to yell at yourself, if you have to do whatever it is that you have to do, to stop playing this game, stop living in this matrix. It's important. It's more important than you could ever realize. I love you all, and I want the best for every single one of you. Okay. More comments.
She said that she wanted to try like this vegan configuration of jackfruit and black bean chili.
That sounds very good.
She did it.
Yeah.
For dinner on Saturday.
You know,
said it was delicious.
There's so much. I mean, you can do so much with vegan foods and experiment, and it's just so delicious and so wonderful, you know? And then getting away from this reward system that we live our lives around, you know, everything is reward. Well, I was good, so I'm going to have this, or it's like that's our child mentality. That's the mentality that we've developed, or our parents push that mentality on us from the time we're little, that we think we deserve this, and we need to outgrow that. We literally need to outgrow that, because what's going to be taking place, folks, is serious business. We don't have time to play anymore. We have to really do the work, you know?
April says, if you bake green lentils, it's also close to a hamburger.
I'm wondering if I could put the thing back up, because I think it's for the...
Steven says, I think my wife's friend is a gang stalker. She came over last weekend, brought all this meat and dairy products that took me to look to me highly suspect, like she's trying to prevent my wife's third eye.
Wow.
And
you know, there are people in your life, you know, and put there by these Arconian deities, whatever they are, energy source, that don't want your betterment. So things will present itself, and you'll know, like all of a sudden, it's like, why is this happening? Like you said, why are they bringing this? You know, we're trying to do good. We're trying, and it's just like, it's almost like you're being tempted. It's like these creatures, these things don't want you to get to where you're going. So they put thoughts in your mind, and they make you feel sorry for yourself, and they make you question yourself.
And she said, it asked, what's a gang stalker? And she also said, pea soup with smoky seasoning is good too.
Awesome stuff.
And Steven said, look it up on YouTube. There's spiritual demons.
Yeah, definitely. And they love to get into your heads, and they love to steer your progress away, and they love to make you feel guilty and sad and all sorts of different things. Like, I deserve this. I need this. I deserve. And it's like, no, that's not your spirit talking to you.
So Steven says, we're all targeted by the gang stalking program.
Yep.
House divided against itself cannot stand. The law of attraction is only material gain without the Father of all, first and foremost.
Exactly. And we need to get rid of those materialistic cravings, and that includes the food, and that includes all the desires that are not in the realm of where you need to be. If you're putting more focus on something away from your spiritual growth and your enlightenment, then that stuff is not good for you. Whatever it is that you're like totally, it's like, be in your heart space, be in your soul space, get to know who you truly are.
So Todd says, well, gotta run. Night Night all.
Thank you, Todd,
Thanks,
for
Todd.
tuning in. And we're just getting ready to check out too and end it with the song.
Ryan says, I have to go. Happy birthday again, Lynette. Enjoy your night all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Stephen says, targeted individuals from the point of conception. You've lived it. This I know. I love your channel. Truth revealed.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you. And thank you all. We
have been targeted our whole lives.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
I totally resonate with that.
But, when you are aware of it and you don't consent anymore and you're like, I know what you're doing and you're not going to do it. I'm not going to allow you to do it. And that's the key, because there's nothing. When they have nothing to dangle a carrot in front of you, nothing, then
triggers you.
Yeah. And then you get to a point where, I don't think I'm better than anyone, but I find that through my life, I am in a very spiritually awakened time in myself, and there's nothing that they could do to nothing. Because I don't get bored. There's nothing. I mean, I'm just waiting for whatever it is to happen. I'm like, okay, been ready. Let's go. Let's get this thing going.
So she said, it said, happy birthday, Elena. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Being aware of targeting will free you.
Totally. Life is learning, Megwitch, and thank you all for being, caring, and sharing loving kindness to you and all of my other relations. Please consider hitting the like button. Thank you, April. Yes. Yeah, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, share, hit the like button. If what we're doing helped you in any way, please, if you so desire, we have a PayPal account. Please support the channel. Yeah, that's about it. So we are going to call it a good night. We've
another 3-hour
show, and I'm going to put together another show for tomorrow. So, yeah, guys, I know that we all have hang-ups. We all have addictions. We all have certain things that we're working on. I have faith that we're all going to do this because we're all connected. I'm not better than anyone. No one's better than anyone. We're all connected, and we all have the same stuff inside, and we could all do this. I know we can. Okay, it's not that hard when you really come from a place of self-love and understanding and connect yourself to your higher self and to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Together we are strong. So if you guys have any questions, if you need any help, with questions regarding vegan or whatever else, and just please email me. That's why we're here. And if you want to say something privately, you could email us at transitionradioshow@gmail.com.
And if you want to get on the show and share your experience, more than welcome to. We'd love the conversation. We had a wonderful conversation with Scott the other day.
He called in. So if you're camera shy and you just want to call in and share your story or talk about anything, we do have a number that you guys could call in. Or if you want to do a camera interview, we've had several guests in the past, and we'd love to do that.
Or if you don't want to be on camera, but you want to be on the show, we can also do audio only.
Audio, you'll see us, but the guests won't see you, or people watching won't see you because you just won't have the camera on. Yeah. All right, guys, we love you. But remember to always love yourselves too. Good night. Let's make sure that this is on. Let me see here. Oh, I got to do this. This is a song I wrote a while back called Widow from the War. So those of you that have had family members who have been at war, or gone to war, lost someone you love, I wrote this song on that sentiment.
Thanks for the birthday wishes,
yes,
Bill, and everyone.
Same time, flowers in hand. Oh, how she resisted. It's body and soul. Rise and look out the door. Knowing that others like him won't be coming home. sent to a war so far away. Baby was part of a man someday away. She can't sleep at night. The sight is so bad. She still feels his hands caressing her hair. The two became one. She feels all alone. The war destroyed her life. Please bring them home. Johnny and others like him won't be coming home. A soldier on